I'm going to call the Select Board meeting for July 13th to order at 7 o'clock. Mr. Mark, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the agenda?
Would make a motion to approve the agenda for July 13th, 2026.
Special?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approval of the minutes for June 22nd.
Would make a motion to approve the minutes for June 22nd, 2026.
Second?
Second, any discussion?
Yes. On page 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down, there's a new wildlife warden, Katie who? We don't have a last name there. Moving on to page 3, our steel is up at the top, stated that they should park the new one and use the old one until October. Just below it, it says, our steel stated that they should park the new one and use this one for the summer. It's almost saying the same thing twice.
I might have said it twice to reinforce my point.
Okay,
That was a lively discussion. You may well have said it twice.
and then if you go down a little bit further, 3, 4 lines further, they only can drive 4 OT 5 at a time. Should be or. On page 4, I know what, comma happy, under the Crystal Beach parking update, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 line down, is question what currently happens, comma. Down a little further is our Coons question, what is done, comma. Down further, 4 lines up, it says, our Steele speaking as a citizen questioned, comma. On page 5, under section 5, about halfway down, it says we should try to have separate people, comma, if we can. On page 6, under 2, Recreation Center, the 3rd line down, it says to get the first month of August free. I think of can just come out of there, first month August free. Down further under future lease tenant, it said looking to rent space to 3 to 4 rooms at the rec center for the summer of 2027. I think the summer was going to be left open for the summer camp, that they wanted it just for the school year.
Correct.
Okay, down the very last line on the same page, our Spalding stated it's pretty cut by comma. On page 10, on the very first line, how many candidates are running for the position? R. Steele questioned, comma. And then on the very last line, it said he would write a letter. No, R. Spalding stated that the letter should be sent to all of the senators. Actually, that should be all of the candidates. And that's all I have.
Mark, you got anything?
No, sir.
Rob?
I just have on that page 2, that same top paragraph where Mary Lee had wanted to put Katie's last name. The next line down, organized by Officer Justin. Should we say officers? I can't pronounce his last name.
Shareko.
Shareko.
I can say it, I can't spell it.
The only other thing that I had, I guess that was it.
The only thing I want to add to that is on page 3, the motion to sell the dump truck. Somebody voted no.
Bob voted no.
The minutes just specify who voted no.
Yep, Bob voted no.
Other than that, you got Mary Lee, you did a pretty good job of finding everything I did. Any more discussion on the minutes for June 22nd? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve the minutes for June 29th, 2026.
Second?
Any discussion?
Not much. On page 2, under resolution, about 6 from the top, the should be taken out of it, opposed to the be co-mingled, take the out of it. And Art Steele made a motion to approve resolution 2026-07-01, is that correct?
No. I'm trying to find where you're at, but I know it's not right.
That is, it's under resolution for
Oh,
Brother
yeah.
Taggart.
Yep, I see it. No, that is correct. For the resolution, that's correct.
That is right,
Yeah.
okay, nothing else.
But I missed the first one, where you're at, and where you're at in there. Where it said, did you say something about R. Spalding said something? You said it was where the issue was.
I want to take the out of the sentence.
But where in there is it?
Okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the bottom of resolution 2601 and 2602. It just, the name does not need to be in there. And I found a comma right now on page 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, line up, comma before the if. That's it for me.
Anybody else?
The only thing I had was on page 3, and I'm probably wrong here, but I can't remember. It's the top 1, 2, 3. Starts on the 3rd line down. M. Brown stated that he thinks it's important to remember that the town plan does not have any regulatory authority. Was that Mark, or was that somebody from the planning commission that said that?
That was Mark Brown that said that.
Okay. I know Mark had talked about the Act 250 stuff, but I couldn't, for some reason I thought I remember hearing somebody from the planning commission say that.
It came up in that conversation, Frank, I believe, mentioned that as well. I don't know if it's reflected in the minutes, but
That was all I had.
a question about the minutes, Roy?
You're talking about approving the June 22nd minutes.
No, we're in the June 29th minutes now.
Okay, well, I haven't seen the draft minutes, which is supposed to be in the public domain within 5 days. And this is, I spoke about it a month or so ago, the same thing. All the other towns are compliant with getting those minutes, draft minutes, within 5 days.
Can you confirm or deny that, Mike?
Yeah, I don't get it within 5 days, so I can't post anything in 5 days, so. We know it, Roy, but I'm not the one typing them, so, I push the buttons, and if I don't get it in 5 days, I'm not stopping and typing minutes out. Just don't have time to do it. Just takes hours and hours and hours.
I'll have a conversation with Mike about that offline, Roy. Your point is well taken, though. I realize that's been an ongoing issue. All in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. Citizens' comments, items not on the agenda. Go ahead, Tom.
I guess it was the 28th, in those minutes, the town was supposed to scope the pipe underneath my camp. Did that happen?
Actually, the West Crystal Haven Stormwater update is on the agenda.
Including the pipe?
We'll discuss all topics at that time, Tom. You're welcome to participate at that point, please.
That's all right.
Mr. Mark?
Just very quickly, I want to thank the town, and especially the town highway department, for the support it gives to our sailing camp, which started again today. We could not do it without them.
I'll be sure we pass that along.
Thank you. I think they know how I feel.
The highway foreman's on, so he heard you too.
I don't know if Kevin, did you want to say something about the ATV?
Yeah, we passed in the petition, and that's all I've heard. I haven't heard anything. You gonna allow us to let us ride it on the roads, or?
The
I don't know
decision.
Next step, I'm waiting for it here.
The decision on the, I think that the board had made in a prior meeting was for it to get petitioned so that it could get put on the ballot for the voters to decide in March.
Okay, so nothing's gonna happen now, we're gonna wait till March.
That is the way it looks. We were looking through your petitions today, and I believe there's some issues with some of the petitions because it needs to be, correct me if I'm wrong, 150 signatures or somewhere in there, but it's got to be registered voters for the town of Castleton. And you have a lot of people from outside towns.
So there's not 150 good ones on it.
We don't know that, sir. What we're going to do is this gets submitted to the town clerk, and the town clerk has to check each line and verify that that signature is actually a registered voter. When they get to the threshold of 5%, which I don't know if that's 150 or 148 or 156, but 5% of the registered voters, once it meets that threshold, then the petition can get certified and passed to the select board. Until that happens, we can take no action.
Okay, well, when can I find this out?
This week, when they get it, they'll count them.
This has been turned into the town clerk, do we know that?
It's in their mailbox.
Okay, so it's just been turned to the town clerk, I think a reasonable period of time, maybe a week at the most.
I just go to town office and find out?
That would be a good course of action, is to call the town clerk.
Okay, thank you.
And
And
if I-
then, once it's certified, then we can take action. At this point in time, I believe our intent was to put it on the ballot for town meeting day when we get the most Castleton voters to participate. That was our intent. I don't know, this board can change their course of action if they so desire, and I'm only 20% of the board. But that was my thought, was to do it on town meeting day to maximize the amount of Castleton voters that would participate. You're welcome to, bend our ear and try to change our course of action if you so desire, but at this point in time, that was my thought, and I'm not sure, I can't speak for the rest of the board.
I'm pretty sure that's the direction we wanted to go in. So only the board can make this decision,
Yeah,
a yes or no, but we felt that it was a topic that all the taxpayers in town should weigh in on. And then the board would take that under advisement. Although the town could say, yes, we want this on the ballot, and the select board could still say, no, we're not going to approve it, or vice versa. But I think the board wants to follow the direction of the majority of voters.
I didn't realize about you had to be registered, wasn't aware of that, I went about it different.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks on here that are from Poultney, Fairhaven, even Whitehall, and those will not count.
Yeah.
They have to be registered voters in Castleton.
Okay, thank you.
I do believe that there's well over 200 signatures here, so the odds of you getting to that threshold are fairly good. And if not, we can quantify it and you can know how many more you need to get. And then, and it might be 10 or 20 or none. And until we know, we won't know.
Perfect.
So we'll move on to a nice soft topic. How about we'll talk about the town plan now? Mark, you want to kick it off? After we had our brief discussion last meeting, I took a look at some of the goals, and I think you're right that we need to take a look at those, and because if Act 250 does require that some certain projects be in compliance with the town plan, then we need to really think about what's in the town plan as far as goals.
I think if you read the Rutland Herald, what happened in Rutland this week really put a sharp point on this. The woman who happens to be the chief of police's wife had a ice cream store on Center Street,
Oh, yeah.
and she closed that, and she wants to turn that into an event space that also has an Airbnb in it. So if your organization wanted to hold a meeting and rent that event space, there would be a space that a speaker could stay overnight. And that application was denied because in the town plan, Rutland City Plan, it says that they want to reserve first floor downtown spaces for business, not residential. And I get that, because you don't want to turn Center Street into subsidized housing. But here's a case, I'm not weighing in one way or the other, where the town plan had a big effect on a permit that was denied, even though it met zoning, it didn't meet the town plan. So I'm just saying we want to be super careful here that, you know, we look at the good work that the Planning Commission has done, but make sure that we cover all our bases. The one that stuck out to me was solar panels. You know, rooftop solar under this proposed town plan would only work in industrial zoned areas. And I think that we would want renewable energy rooftop, not ground level, but rooftop solar in every aspect, whether it was on a house on Main Street. I used an example of Woodard's. You know, they have some really big storage buildings. They could put a tremendous amount of solar up, but according to the town plan, they're in the wrong area
The
for
old
it.
Iron Lantern, that's got solar on the roof, and that's not an industrial zone, I don't believe, according to the new planning map, so.
And you could only do 110% of the electrical capacity that would be used on site. And someplace like Woodard's, it's limited hours in the winter, they might be able to produce, you know, I don't know, I'm not a solar expert, they might be able to produce 3 times as much electricity as they use. So I just think there's a lot of good work there, but I think that we have to review some of it.
Mary Lee, do you have anything to add to that?
Nobody's gonna like me. I don't like the format. It's not consistent. There's misspellings, poor grammar. There's places where, like under flood resilience, river corridor. I've got a little brook that dries in the summer. Is that a river corridor? Can I not build within whatever number of feet of that river corridor? Is it a river corridor?
That's on the state map, I believe, the river corridors. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
The river corridors are defined by a state map.
Yes, that's a state, yeah.
So if your brook is not on it, that would not count.
Okay,
And there's also, I'm sorry, there's a clause, actually, that Tom Murphy pointed out at the last meeting, that nothing in the town plan will supersede local zoning, state or national law ordinances.
Just happened in Rutland, though, right?
Pardon me?
I don't know if
It just
it did
happened
it.
in
I don't
Rutland.
know if that did in Rutland, or whether
Did that just happen in Rutland, though?
That just happened in Rutland.
it did.
Yeah, the zoning would have approved that permit, but the town plan specified they didn't want residential on ground floor in downtown, and this qualified.
But
This
I wonder
may
if-
be overturned,
Yeah.
but, and again, the last thing is if it requires an Act 250 permit, you have to meet the 10 criteria of Act 250, and number 10 is, does this coincide with the town plan? So even, there are possibilities where something can be zoned correctly, but through unintentional language, unintentional or intentional language, in the town plan, Act 250 could say no,
Well, I
as they
wonder
like to
if
do.
The Rutland Town Plan had the same wording in it that we were very careful to put in there. You know, not that we want to water down the town plan, but the fact is, the town plan is not meant to take the place of this UDR zoning.
Correct.
That rules, and that's our intention.
Yep, no, I get that. Yeah, I think most of it's, in my opinion, I think most of it's good. I think there's a couple of points that we need to look at from a different angle and say, is there gonna be an unintended consequence?
There's also things in here, and I know I'm picky. You've changed policies to objectives some places, not everywhere, but then, well, I'm looking at natural resources here. It says
What page
policy,
you on, Mary Lee?
39. It says natural resources goals policies, but then when you go down through, their objectives and programs that you're looking to find. I feel we need to have a meeting that is strictly for this with the public, the board and the planning commission, and go over this page by page. There's a lot of things that are probably inconsequential. I enjoyed reading the history about the college and the history about Hubbardton. This little blue cat is kind of cute, but what is really the relevance of it in the town plan? That should be in a history book and be at the Historic Society. In my opinion, okay? And I really would like people to sit down and go through it page by page, and a lot of things, I know I just have a question. They're probably more than right, but I'm just questioning, could it be worded a little different?
So what you're suggesting, Mary Lee, is a working meeting with the select board and the planning commission?
And any public that might want to come as well.
Well, it would have to be a meeting in public anyways.
Yeah.
We couldn't have a private
Because-
meeting like that.
I mean, we've got here, how many pages, 60 some odd pages. And to try to cover them tonight, I don't think we do a good job.
But don't you think that, Mary Lee, that there's 60-some pages, but most of it is informational and history? It's only when you come to, can I see this a sec?
Sure.
Whoop, I threw it at your bad arm.
Yeah.
I'll give you a chance, Joe, don't worry.
The goals, objectives, and program pages.
Those are the ones that I
There's
think we
several
need to.
different ones.
Right, there's about 6, 7?
And
I mean, that's-
Sometimes they're objectives, sometimes they're policies, and so on and so forth. It's not consistent.
And those are the ones, you know, the first one recreational, then educational goals, objectives, and programs. I think it's the goals and objectives that we really need to discuss.
I would agree with that. I think that's where we may wind up with some unintended consequences there, and that's, the thing that we need to really look for.
But we don't need to go through the enrollment statistics at the university, right? I mean, that's background information, and we don't need to, as a group, go through that. What percentage is commuters? It's just the goals and objectives, which is about 6 pages, that we should discuss.
Well, there's more than 6 pages that aren't history.
And
And.
And we're not gonna do that in 15 minutes, you're right.
No, we're not.
Right, we
And-
should all study that, what the goals, what would be changing, what the goals and objectives are, that's the meat of it, and have a conversation, and I think there's probably a few things that we would like to tweak.
I would like to see, and I'm getting this from Joe Mark, is he still here?
He's here.
I heard him once say, when I first got on the select board, that we should be proud of anything we write. And whether it's a comma, a capital letter, or an indentation, or something that's wrong, it should be fixed. And it should be something that we're very proud of, just to look at. And I hate to say this, I've never read one before. And out of 4,000 residents, I'll say 2,000 because we'll knock off the kids. How many have read it? I don't know.
Couple dozen.
You know, but we still got to be proud of what we do. Thank you, Joe Mark.
So,
Thank you for raising every concern about a comma and a split infinitive in the minutes. I really appreciate that.
so, Joe, do you want to provide some feedback on the history section that we?
No, I didn't want to speak to that at all. I just wanted to say that, well, I mean, first of all, I've been an alternate member of the Planning Commission and haven't really had a direct involvement in this process except to offer some suggestions for edits here and there. But I have been involved in this process for probably something like a dozen years, dating back to drafts and rewrites that Janet Curry and Joe Bruno were developing. And it's a long process to improve a document like this and revise it. And I've been impressed by the diligence of the present Planning Commission. I think they've taken this pretty far down the road to where it needs to be. And I strongly support the suggestion that Mary Lee and Mark are making that a work session or 2 or 3 be arranged to kind of iron out the issues that remain. And I would suggest that that be done on a segment basis, not trying to sit down and review the whole thing, but targeting certain subsets of the document, announcing that publicly, giving people the chance to contribute on that point. But I really do think that at the end of the day, this should be something we understand and feel enthusiastic about. And it saddens me that so few people have the time to actually read this, which represents a ton of hard work by people, volunteer people. But I think we're very close, and I think the focus now should be on how do we finish this last few yards in the process.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that we have a pretty close consensus of where we want the town to go. We just want to make sure that it's
Protected?
protected and documented in that way.
Rob, do you have anything to add?
I have a bunch of stuff, but if we're gonna have another meeting, then there's no sense in me getting after it now. So,
Can I just offer that during this whole process, we worked hard to make it a collaboration with a lot of different interest groups, or groups of interest, and including the university, including the Slate Valley School System, including the Historical Society, including the rec department. And you know, we invited those folks to come in during our meetings. And collaboration with the select board, of course, is probably more important than all of those. So we take no offense of wanting to have, you know, we welcome your editing thoughts and comments, and we will accept them all. You know, we take no offense. We worked pretty hard at this document for like a year and a half. As you know, this was version 23 or whatever. But it can be improved, and there are mistakes in it, we realize it. You know, when I read the old town plan, there's mistakes in that too. I mean, it's a gigantic document. So anyway, I totally welcome it, and I'm fine, I mean, Mike is here also, fine with having a special session on it, rather than doing it at the public hearing, of which there must be 2, I believe. Either way, we're in, you know, we'll be there. And you know, with open ears and certainly happy to hear your comments for how it can be improved.
Well, I think it's imperative that we move on from this agenda item with a course of action in place on how we're going to get this resolved. So I think that Mary Lee's suggestion that we have some working sessions. Now, would it be advantageous to have, you know, myself and Mary Lee get with you to do some preliminary editing, and
Sure.
then we could,
Yeah.
but we can't have Rob and Mary Lee and myself in the same room at the same time without warning a select board meeting. So, you know, it has to be,
Do that. Why wouldn't you want everybody to be there, so everybody hears what's going on?
we could. I mean, you know, if we're going through, if we're looking for typos and, you know, grammar and syntax, that, you know, we can do that publicly when we probably should, but
Yeah.
that's not going to really change the substance of the document, whereas other changes will.
What we did in the planning commission, we had a few sessions that we called the Breakfast Club on a Saturday morning at Liz's church, because she has a big screen there, and you know, this was totally not warned, but there was no action taken at it. It was just us getting together, you know, working on it. And then when we did take action on any of that, we did that under the totally legal protocols at one of our meetings. And we mentioned that to the folks at the you know, regional planning commission, and they were fine with that. Yeah, sure, you can do that. So,
They're not the ones that hold that.
I know, select board might be different, I don't know.
The Secretary of State's office should have been the one asked if that was legal or not.
Oh, okay.
Not the select board or the regional planning commission.
Well,
I think that we should have just a special meeting to the town, you know, to the town, and that all of us should be there, because there's no sense in changing 2 or 3 different things, and then we all get together and we gotta change those 2 or 3 different things again.
Absolutely.
Or we miss the things that you thought of.
Correct,
So-
I mean,
So Mary Lee, what's your reasonable estimate if we sat down and went through this as a group? How long do you think it would take us to get through it, in your opinion? An hour, 2 hours,
3,
3?
at least.
So why don't we do?
I don't see why we, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to
Well,
interrupt.
no, so what's your opinion, Rob?
Why don't we do like Joe said and pick do a couple different things, because I don't really want to sit for 3 hours to go through this.
Well, I'm not saying we should, I
A
wanted
couple,
your estimate.
a couple different sections, you know, like a normal meeting, hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that, where we go through, you know, 1 through 29 or 1 through 31 or whatever you want to pick for numbers, and we get that section buttoned out, and then have another meeting and go on to the next one. I mean,
What
I
I'm
don't wanna-
asking, Rob, is how long you think it would take to get through the whole exercise, and then we'll figure out how many pieces of the pie we need to cut it up into. So do you think 3 hours is adequate, or do you think 6 is a better number?
I think if we planned on 2 meetings at a couple hours apiece, I think we'd be fine. but
Okay,
That's just my opinion.
no, that's all I'm asking for is your opinion. Mark, do you have anything to add?
I would have said we'd do the whole thing in 2 hours, but if it's 4, it's 4.
What do you think, Frank?
I think that we should assign whatever period of time is necessary.
I agree.
So,
I'm just trying to get a consensus here.
I would leave it at your discretion. I mean, if, I'm happy to take 4 hours and sit there and just hammer the whole thing
Well,
out.
I'm willing to put in the effort it's gonna take to get it done,
Yeah.
and get it done correctly.
why don't we have a 2-hour meeting, we'll get as far as we get.
Yeah.
Joe?
I was just going to make the suggestion that from what I'm hearing, there are 2 types of topics to address. There's the editorial cleanup,
Mm-hmm.
the commas and the inelegant writing that can be fixed. And in my experience, not everybody is interested in that.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yes. So
Or qualified.
I think you could probably focus on that in one relatively brief meeting, an hour perhaps, and then devote a second meeting to the substantive concerns.
Wouldn't it be better to do that last? To make sure you go through everything and make sure you got everything figured out and then do that last?
I think that's a very good point, Charlie.
Yeah.
So let's pick a time to start. Allow 2 hours, we'll see how far we get.
Yep.
But we'll ignore grammar, punctuation, that type of thing at those meetings and just focus on the substance. Then once we get through 1 or 2 meetings there where we've gone through everything that's substantive in this, then we'll focus on getting the grammar, syntax, and punctuation correct. And a third meeting if it's necessary. Does that make sense, Mary Lee?
Does for me.
Let's get the bones fixed first before we worry about getting the i's dotted and the t's crossed. So
I
when
like
do we
that
want to do
idea.
that?
I've read the whole thing a couple times. There's 2 issues that I'd like to talk about. That's it.
I've got more than that, but they could be irrelevant, could be just me, so.
Well, that's, we'll
And
bring
2
them
of them
up.
could be the same as mine, so.
And I've got 3 or 4 things in here as well, and maybe we've all found the same things.
And I've got a lot of things, and some of it's, like I said, just commas and things like that. One place, you're consulting Rutland Regional, the other place you are contracting them. Which is it? Are you contracting them, or are you consulting with them?
All right,
See, that's 2 different things in it
We'll do that at the second meeting.
and
Okay.
whatnot.
we'll do that at the last meeting, whether it's the second or the third meeting. So, what's everyone doing on the 20th?
Um,
I'm putting my hand back down, but I have a
20th
comment.
That's a week from today.
I'm okay on the 20th.
Frank, can you come on the 20th?
No, I can't. I'm hosting a whole group of Dismas House Council and residents at my house for dinner.
Can't you do both?
Invite them.
So is it July 20th?
yeah, we'll just put a grill outside and,
What do you think? Well, what can we
I do it
do?
earlier in the day, but that, you guys are all working. I don't know.
I can do earlier in the day.
I cannot, the rest of the month I can't do during the day.
Okay. What about the 21st? Oh, that's Tuesday. You're not in, right? Mark, you're busy on Tuesday.
Tuesday, I
What about the 22nd?
can do the 22nd.
No, we have a conflict. Well,
So Wednesday.
I can do that.
I'm away on the 22nd. We do the
23rd?
21st?
No, we just decided we
No.
couldn't do the 21st.
Mark can't do the 21st.
Can't do the 21st.
We have a select board meeting on the 27th, right?
Yes.
what about the 24th?
I'm away
Oh,
for 3 days.
28th? Is there any possibility of doing it over on a weekend day rather than a weekday?
No.
If it's going to be a public meeting, I'd rather do it during a weekday.
How about the 29th? So Wednesday.
I'm out of town.
So let's do this. Everyone, send me an email with your availabilities starting on tomorrow, the 14th, through the 31st of July. Just what evenings you could be available, Monday through Friday, or late afternoon, early evening, and then I'll see if we can find a common denominator.
Okay.
so far you don't.
If it was the 29th, I could certainly go over my concerns with someone else on this board ahead of time there.
I'm not opposed to that. We could do, if you're willing to do that on the 20,
If you guys can meet on the 29th, I'm gonna be out of town, but I'd be happy to share again, I only have 2 concerns.
let me back up for a second. The only person who couldn't make it on the 21st was you?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Well,
No, I thought that Frank said he can't make it on,
work.
but that was the 20th, so.
I can do the 21st.
I can do Joe, can you do the 21st? Mike?
Yes.
Apparently I can.
Pardon? So, Mark, why don't you get with me, or Frank,
Okay.
or both of us, and go over your concerns before that meeting. And then,
I'll stop and see you tomorrow and I'll email Frank,
okay, I'll be in the shop all day.
because they're both pretty simple.
Now, is this the 29th then?
21st.
21st. Well, we can meet earlier too, Mary Lee, if that makes it work better for you.
What time?
I'm committed for the Legion on Tuesdays,
What
Okay.
time? All day?
starting at 4.
All right, back to the calendar.
Okay, we're back to the 29th.
The 29th, I
Or
can,
we're gonna go to Plan B and everyone send me their availability because we're not getting anywhere right now.
29th, over there. 29th?
Yeah.
29th, 29th,
Going once.
all but you, I guess.
There were some issues though about having to get this in so that we could be eligible for grants and things like that, so can't put it up too long.
It's gonna have to get put off as long as it has to till we get it right, so unfortunately.
Did it change anything? My only thing is that if they've already met that criteria of giving it to the select board, so this is a select board meeting, because it says the next steps in the planning stage was select board, and it says 2 meetings,
2 public hearings.
public hearings. So once you have it, if any changes are made, file a copy of the change plan with the municipal clerk and send to the municipal planning commission chair and any individual or organization requesting a copy. If any changes are made, the planning commission must prepare a report on the change. Use a written template format for town plans to ensure you adhere to state law. So it sounds like they've given it to the select board.
And we're at the prepare revisions.
You're at the prepared revisions, Mark, so that date that we put in there is gonna be whatever you guys decide on. Because then we have to meet I have to be able to post things in 15 days in advance and that kind of stuff.
Well, we're not gonna know the date that it's completed yet until we get all the revisions back, so I don't think that we need a date right now until we agree on all the revisions.
I think warning a public meeting, if you're gonna talk about it, it still has to be warned.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna have to be a select board meeting, but it's not we're in the prepared revision stage, so we haven't actually, we're not going to get to the point where we're adopting the select board resolution yet. And
So
then-
we're just asking, this isn't really a public hearing, it's just a select board meeting where we're looking at revisions and we encourage residents to come and weigh in if they'd like.
It will be a regular select board, or it will be a special select board meeting, warned, properly warned, and it'll be a meeting in public. Roy?
I'm just interested in knowing, we just spoke about grants. What grants do you need for the planning of this? And second of all, are you under pressure to complete this? Like, to have it completed and into law?
Well, we still have the 2018 town plan in place, correct?
Yep.
And at what point we're required by state statute to revise the town plan periodically? But is that every 8 years?
8 years.
So when does our window close? Do we know that?
I don't know the exact date.
Soon.
Yeah.
What happens if you don't?
And we don't get to apply for grants because we're not in compliance with the state regulations.
Yeah.
And that's a blanket statement, Mike?
As far as the regional planning board told us, that's what we were told.
But certain grants, it doesn't mean like the highway grants.
It doesn't, it what?
It doesn't like affect the highway grants. It has nothing to do with town plans. But if you're gonna apply for a USDA or I forgot the name of the program the state does, those type of grants it affects. Like the Northern Borders Grant.
None of which are on our horizon at this point?
No.
So I think the risk is minimal at this point, right, to answer your question. Joe?
Well, I thought Mike's suggestion that we do the cleanup after we do the substantive
changes was a good one. But in the interest of time, I would volunteer to work with Mary Lee on the cleanup of the text, so that there's a brief gap between when we finish our discussion about the substantive issues and the point at which we can wrap this up.
I think that would be acceptable. What do you guys think? Mary Lee, you willing to do that? Work with Joe on that?
With Joe, yes, because he's the blame of me being so picky.
So Joe, it's all your fault, so yes, we would gratefully accept your help.
Every one of
So,
those comments, I think of you.
So let's go back to a substantive meeting. Do we
29th.
decided on the 29th?
29.
Does that work for you, Frank? And,
Yeah, I can do it.
okay. What time?
7?
That's fine. I mean, the earlier the better would be.
I can do earlier.
Okay.
Mark, you're not gonna be here,
I'll
so,
be here.
6 o'clock?
We have our.
how about 6?
Or no, the 29th. I would have to be like 6:30 because I think my wife's out of town that week. So I gotta close the shop at 6.
6:29 and a half.
6:29.
6:20
Okay.
quarters, so.
So, yeah, we'll say 6:30, and then we can always change that. We have to warn this 48 hours in advance.
Right.
So if we decide to amend the time, you know, if your plans change, Robin, we can meet sooner. As long as we know that by Monday before we warn it, we should be fine. So the 29th. At 6:30 at this point in time, agreed?
You got it.
Okay. We're gonna move on now. So on the 29th, we will meet to discuss substantive issues, and by then, hopefully, Mary Lee and Joe have a fair amount of the grammar and syntax fixed. So we have a course of action in place. We're gonna move on to,
Joe, 22nd, 23rd.
Well, in the interest of time, why don't we talk offline?
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you, Joe. Okay, we're gonna move on to setting the tax rate. Another light subject. So you're confident in these numbers, Mike?
I am as confident as the people that gave it to me are. I've asked them several times, we went over the numbers and they haven't changed.
So I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked last time, if the, well, I'm gonna ask you a two-part question. First part is, the budget with the additional articles was approximately an 8% increase, well, 7.6 we said, right? So why is the amount raised by taxes going up 16% and the tax rate going up 14.9%?
I don't have an answer for that. I don't think there's a correlation between the two, honestly.
Okay, is that just anticipated revenues or something else is changing that?
Yeah, it's not really tied to the budget, like the percentage rate.
Yeah, because the amount raised by taxes last year was 3.182 million, now it's gonna be 3.703 million, which is an increase of 16%.
But that was with that 210,000 put in that was omitted from, or forgot to get put in last year.
So, yeah, I
Well,
think
that-
that should be a public statement that the tax rate last year was incorrect. It was low because we didn't add the 210,000, and that was the additional articles for the fire department reserve, highway reserve, and the paving. So that's $210,000 that wasn't calculated in the needs to be raised by taxes section. And then with I think it was $47,000 increase in the budget, you're up to 400 and, basically 57,000 in changes. What I told you last meeting, it was, you'd have to reduce that whole liability about $500,000 to get the tax rate back down to what it was, close to what it was the previous year.
So if my mental math is correct, a penny on the tax rate raises around $30,000 now? Is Does that sound about
That
right?
sounds right.
What is it raised now, Penny?
Pardon? A penny on the tax rate raises about 30K now. Because the grand list changed and the reassessment and all that. Used to be around 40, but it's gone down because the grand list went up. So, if you factor in that 200,000, yeah, that makes it more like a 8 or 9% increase, which is more palatable. Charlie?
Yeah, I have a quick question on that 210,000 you said, Mike?
Yep.
So did that get put into their account in the fiscal year that's just ended?
It did get put in there.
Okay, so then why would you have to raise that now? You apparently had.
It was on both budgets. It was in the voters voted on it the previous year and the year we're coming into.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
But last year it wasn't put in, you said.
It didn't get added into that formula.
So you're not looking to recoup that money from last year?
No.
This year?
No.
No, that explains why there's a big difference in the increase is actually, looks like it's bigger than it really was, as far as expenditures. So that makes it more palatable.
And there is no surplus to be supplied, or applied, supplied,
No
no.
surplus at all this year?
Not for what you put in for this, the one we're in now, no.
So we came up zero.
Yeah, it was like not quite zero, but it was a little bit, I mean, but not $100,000 even.
So what's the board's pleasure?
That's half of the 210.
My questions have been answered.
Everyone, I think the board's aware that the highway department was severely overspent last year because of the repairs and maintenance primarily. And that was a big hit. I brought that to your attention early on, that we were gonna take a nosedive on that one. And then the PD and the fire department was a little bit over too, because of required maintenance.
Yeah, I think the maintenance costs in all the departments is just gonna continue to grow out of control with the cost of everything being what it is nowadays.
And when our mechanic can't do a lot of that stuff now, it has to be farmed out to wherever we end up sending it. It could be Earl's, it could be anywhere, especially like the truck just went down to Boston Lake for that ladder, that weld issue. So, I mean, sometimes you can't bring it to the local garage. Especially with diagnostics.
Right, those repairs that 10 years ago were $1,000 are 15 now.
Look at the exhaust on that single axle. Just the exhaust was $13,000 or something ridiculous because all the def stuff had to be replaced. Out of control.
July 1, I believe all that, you can hire somebody to take that stuff off there.
Well, that'll benefit us now, but that doesn't save us the
Well, that's what I'm
13,000.
saying. Yeah, I know that, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is,
Yeah.
that law got changed,
Yeah.
The federal law.
the federal law. So you can actually, before it was, you would be fined if you took it off. Now, you can take it off. It's anywhere from, I've been looking into it, it's anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 one hit, first one time hit, per one that you're doing, per unit.
Well, back to work here. We gotta make a decision on the tax rate.
Well, also, when you look at the municipal, when you add it with the municipal and the homestead and the municipal and non-homestead, because the school rate did go down, if you look at the total, and I'm not making light of it because I don't like the top number, but the rate for municipal and homestead last year was 1.3423, and this year it would be 1.3437. So we're talking, when you get down to the bottom line of it, it's more palatable because the education rate brought it down. And then the municipal and non-homestead, last year it was 1.5972. This year it would be 0.6150.
Yeah, it's a lot better than a few years ago going from 194 to 215.
Yeah, there was some years back into the 21, 22, or 22 to 23 that it was pretty ugly.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, it is what it is. I think that,
Well, when you combine the municipal and the homestead rate, that's almost flat.
Yeah.
And the
Right.
non-homestead rate is not, 2 cents. So what's your board's pleasure? We need to either reject this or accept it.
I would make a motion that we accept the tax rate as presented.
Well, you have to actually spell it out, and then you have to list the municipal rate and the tax agreement for a total of, and then you have to accept the homestead rates, and then we have to set the high and low penalty rate. You can do that all in one big log motion, or we can do it in separate motions.
Rob can do it all in one motion.
It'd be easier if you guys broke up into chunks, just so that when we're looking at it, it's separated.
So we gotta do each one, so.
Yeah, the municipal,
Well,
make
you
a-
can do these three together, this one and this one for a total of that.
Yep.
And then accept those two.
Yep, and then do the
You
total.
can ignore that, and then just set the high and low.
Okay.
Because if you accept these, then everyone can add.
Make a motion to accept the municipal tax rate at .4391 and the local tax agreements with the Historical Society at .0015 for a total, municipal total to be raised by taxes of .4407.
Second.
Can they do the dollar amount on that?
For the sum of $3,716,580.88.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would make a motion to accept the homestead educational tax assessment tax rate at .9030 and the non-homestead education tax assessment tax rate at 1.1743. And we're gonna set the, can I do the high penalty and low penalty in the same one? Or do that separate?
Do it separate.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Do you want the total raised by school taxes or no? Mike?
We never did before.
Yeah, we haven't done that one.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then you have to set the high and low
Set
rate.
the low penalty rate for late homestead declaration filing at 3% and the high penalty rate for late homestead declaration filing at 3%.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So this one might be a lighter lift. Appointment to a rec commission? Right?
Can you tell, that happened so fast, I didn't catch it all. Could you tell me how much the taxes are gonna increase this year?
The tax rate? I can't tell you what the taxes are going to be.
What was the tax rate over last year?
The municipal tax rate last year was .3834, which was actually in error. It should have been higher than that, but by how much, I don't know, probably 2 cents.
I did the run.
And this year it will be .4407, which we believe to be correct this year. That's the municipal rate. The homestead rate will change from .9589 to .9030. And the non-homestead rate will go from 1.2138 to 1.1743. And there's no reason why Roy couldn't have a copy of this if he wanted it, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want a copy of this, we'll be happy to give you one.
You take mine if you want, Rick. I'll circle what they were talking about.
Might want to clarify to him that 10,000 of that was because it didn't get put in last year's
Yeah,
tax rate.
last year's tax rate was actually at least 2 cents off, maybe a little more than that, because there was an error in the amount raised by taxes by 200,000.
So that number
Yeah.
was voted on.
Right, you're right, 210,000.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie.
That's what changed, that's why there's a bigger difference mathematically, because it wasn't included here. But this is what they were talking about, setting the rates. That's the total amount for municipal. This is homestead, non-homestead. But if you want to stop by the office, I can explain it to you too.
All right, we're gonna move on to, rec commission appointment. We have an application. Any discussion?
Martha's talked to the person, they were gonna attend a meeting, just to introduce themselves, but they were good with it. Martha was good with it. With Kendi, you're talking about Kendi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that I think she's been bringing some positive energy to Crystal Beach from some of her Facebook stuff that she's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So would you care to make a motion?
So I'd make a motion to appoint Kendi Corpieri to the Recreation Commission for a term of 1 year.
Second.
And that term will be from July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2027.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There's another heavy lift. We have an application for membership in the planning commission.
I'd make a motion to appoint Joe Mark to the Planning Commission for a term of 1 year, beginning July 1st, 2026, ending June 30th, 2027.
Second.
Any discussion? Joe, do you have anything you would like to say?
Well, I did have a speech prepared, but I left it behind.
Well, I can say that I'm going to enthusiastically vote yes to this. You're a known quantity, we know what we're going to get, and your input will be valuable, and we appreciate you volunteering to help fill this void.
Yes, we do.
Does the board have anything else to add? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Is it still
Hired.
a $20,000 stipend? Is that what it was?
I thought there was a cost of living increase, but I could live with that.
I'd like to run for the Planning Commission.
Well, Joe, I can tell you this much, you're going to be worth every cent we're paying you. Okay, this one might be a little more difficult. Let's see. Or errors and omissions. No, this won't be a heavy lift.
Looks like there's a demolished mobile home,
Yes.
and that's why it's being changed.
So we need a motion to approve the change in the span number.
I would make a motion to approve to change from to remove $28,000 from span number 129-040-11628 for the demolished mobile home that was demolished on June 18th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Do you need the name on that, or is the span good enough?
Span's good enough.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Mike, this is on you. You got to talk about the repair on the ladder truck.
Okay. This morning, Heath it went down to Boston Lake to a Sutton, certified Sutton dealer mechanic shop to repair. They found a weld. They found out it was not the material defect, it was a weld defect. So it's about $5,000, which includes the re-inspection after the repair's made. The company that we use, American Test Company, is not doing it. They have their own, another company that's gonna be there inspecting another truck just happens at that same time frame, and they will do the inspection on it. If it's gonna delay it any further than 10 days or so, he said that they'll come back and they'll have it done back here by American Test Company. It comes out of it, it's certified, it's, Sutphen signs off on it, the test company signs off on it, we got peace of mind that it was done to their standards, whatever the national standard for it is, and it comes back and gets put in service. Heath did reach out to our mutual aid partners and let them know that it will be out of service, so that if we need a ladder in town, that we know. It'll be West Rutland will be probably the first due, but Granville, Rutland City, Middletown, there's more than one place that has a ladder, so. The only two that have platforms is Whitehall and Rutland though, the bucket. So if we need that, then it would come from those, but other than that, it's gone, it's down there, and we'll get it back in service. It was better than $50,000 for the bucket.
Was this the brand new fire truck?
Yeah, that green ladder truck,
That we just bought?
yeah. Yeah.
So, was there any warranty with that when we got it?
It's out now. It was purchased through a private sale. It was inspected by Harrobs, but they don't do metallurgically stuff. They don't, they didn't find that.
It's got a crack on one of the welds, Charlie. I kid you not even a quarter of an inch.
And we couldn't have got that done locally.
No, because somebody has to sign off, because like National Life, you
Life
gotta
safety
be,
stuff.
you gotta be willing to sign off that you could put your life, National Fire Department stuff.
NFPA certification.
I mean, we no doubt that they locally could do it, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
puts the whole life safety thing in jeopardy. And
Right. We have a local guy that I'm sure would have done it for 1,000
Or less.
or less. But
It's a couple $100 weld.
you gotta have it certified.
but at least it wasn't the metal fatigue on the actual material. So they got to clean the weld up, and redo it, but be done.
Next time that comes up, you should check with Bill Lyle, because I think he is certified.
He is certified, but they won't sign off on it.
Bill wouldn't, or they?
No, Bill would probably sign off on it, but the Sutphen wouldn't sign off on it.
We wouldn't be able to get the certification to use the truck through NFPA, National Fire Protection Association.
You know the cost on this yet?
About $5,000, counting of it being retested.
So like everything, everybody's got their hand out.
Absolutely.
Your federal government at work. Okay, so let's talk about speed bumps.
We have to.
No, but yes, we do. You put it on the agenda.
Yeah, so just getting more and more calls about speeding. And I'll just start off, but I'm not a fan of speed bumps by any means. But I wanted to bring it up because that's when I'm hearing people, why can't you put speed bumps out there? And these, people talk about the ones that you can remove from the road, so in the wintertime you're not, they're not plowing over them. But it's a pretty touchy conversation with some. But I had, you got an email from a resident today, as did I. You got a copy of my response to him. I talked to the chief, and
About Creek Road?
yeah, we're doing more than adequate, I think, and more than normal patrolling up there. But unless you can target a specific time of the day that somebody's speeding. Justin sat up there in 60 cars. The fastest one was 38 miles per hour. And they put it in Valcor because of these complaints. And Valcor's their system to log these patrols in and say, this is how many contacts we had. This is what we're seeing for speeds. And so it's they're not sitting in the gentleman's driveway because it's dangerous to go in and out of it.
I run on that road every day, and I always meet a patrol car. They're there all the time.
Early in the morning, too.
Yeah.
I will say that 35 on that road seems like a lot when there's people that are right on the shoulder. You don't have a lot of space up there to get by. So even if somebody is going the speed limit to somebody that's walking or out in the road or doing whatever, it probably does seem like they're going way too fast. But
When you're close to, when you're up on the highway on an accident call and a car goes by you at 55 miles per hour, it
seems
seems like they're doing
fast.
90 and you're like, slow down,
it's just,
But
that is a tough road.
And I think, seems like this year more than we've had in the past. There's a lot of loud motorcycles and a lot of loud cars. And geez, you hear them and it sounds like they're going 100, but they're going 35.
yeah, the motorcycles that like a weed eater winding up. And
You got these little motorcycles now, or whatever you're calling, they're calling them bikes or whatever, going 35 miles an hour with people with no helmets or nothing.
Right.
You wait till somebody pulls up in front of a big truck or car.
Right. No helmet, no
helmet,
license.
nothing. That's
license.
gonna be dangerous. That's the big part of it. It's gonna be a next.
Scooters
big
too,
issue.
little tiny wheeled scooters going 40.
So I wanted to bring it to the board because people are asking that I'm talking to about, can we put speed bumps up on Staso Road near the transfer station and the highway garage? Because there's a certain few people that we know who they are, come screaming through there. I'm not sure I say screaming. The complaints are they're going too fast, and that was one spot, and then the thing on Creek Road too.
Well, it's 3 AM on Sand Hill Road.
It's funny, we did a traffic study on Sand Hill Road when there was complaints about when the assisted living facility was being talked about, and Cy ran up there for days and recorded everything, and he said, Yeah, there's people speeding, because they're all the locals. So, you know,
I was gonna say, didn't somebody get pulled over?
No, I didn't get pulled over.
You know, with Creek Road, if it would be possible to do a seasonal 25, at least from Route 4A up to the state park. I guess that's pretty much all of Castleton, isn't it?
I mean, so, all of that road, and up to, if you're
But-
talking all the way up, Creek Road in West Castleton. Now, the select board I can have Pete, you know, they can do a traffic study. It's gonna take, you know, go through V-Trans to do a traffic study, and they'll come back with data that says it's warranted to reduce the speed on the road.
But it wouldn't be just summer.
No.
It would be all the time.
I mean, in the winter, it's not a situation, there's no traffic on that road.
Only
It's,
got maybe 3 months.
yeah, it's just 3 months, there's a lot of traffic.
But I mean,
And-
personally, for me, the difference of 25 to 35 on that road, I wouldn't care to see it 25 miles year round because it's slippery anyway in the winter with no shoulder in that. So I would say do the traffic study and let's lower it to 25. But that's just my opinion. I mean,
I think that's a better option than speed bumps.
it's a dangerous road that gets heavy traffic, especially in the summer months. And in the winter months, there's a lot of water that flows over it in spots. There's no guardrails. It's icy. I don't think it would be a big deal. I mean, maybe the people that live there aren't gonna wanna go 10 miles an hour slower, but
Well,
They're the same ones that are complaining about the speed though.
And the complaints about pedestrian traffic on that area of Creek Road, when there's no shoulders, it's not illegal to walk in the road.
Right.
No, it's specifically stated as being legal, and I personally don't feel comfortable driving 35 in the summer on that stretch of road between Woodard's and Avalon Beach. It's not a 35-mile-an-hour road, and I don't.
yeah, I drive 25 through there.
Yeah, I
slower
drive
or
pretty
whatever.
slow
It
through there
just-
in the summer, well, year-round, but particularly in the summer, because you never know when you're gonna see someone in the road. Or
There's a
backing
lot of
out.
people that come out off the steps from the lakeside, that come up those steps that you can't see. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen just charge out across without turning their head either way. So,
It's pretty much the same in Route 32. What is it, 35 up through there, and people step out.
So what do we need to do to change if we decide we wanna change the speed limit on Creek Road, what's the process?
I'll have to have Pete do a traffic study so we can justify it.
Let's start the process, I think. What do you think?
I'm in agreeance.
Well,
Yeah.
the traffic study doesn't mean you have to change it. The traffic study says is it warranted.
Well, let's at least start by gathering information. And then this board would be willing to consider it.
Right. We know it's a very popular summer tourist area and there's a lot of traffic and a lot of pedestrians. There's boats docked right next to each other the entire length of the channel, you know, so there's a lot of people walking back and forth and.
I'll bring up my concerns again that I sent out in an email is the parking on the Route 4A end of that. When they're parked on both sides of the road and it's down to one lane and you've got boats with trailers coming through, you have people walking out in between cars, that's not safe to me. I mean, I don't wanna decrease somebody's business, but I think that we need to look at the safety aspect of it. The other night, there was 6 or 8 of them parked up Park Street. They were lined all the way up down to your boathouse on both sides of the road. Most of the time, at least half the cars out in the traveled portion of the lane.
That was the same thing that happened at the beach, and people poo-pooed that off, so they're probably the same ones will poo-poo this one off, but I will talk to Pete about it.
Can you park in the traveled portion of the road?
No?
Then there you go. There's no poo-pooing it off. You parked in the traveled portion of the road.
Did you go on Creek Road on 4th of July?
No, I wasn't around, but I
You
mean,
wouldn't have wanted to.
this is every night.
Yeah. No, I got it. So I'll talk to Pete about that and Jeff about signage and everything else.
What about, are you locking people in at Crystal Beach?
Yeah, Rob said he saw several cars locked in there after 8 PM.
Okay. I just wondered if,
Yeah, when I came through the other night, there was 3 people locked and the gate was closed and they were still in there.
Didn't the select board make a deal with the lake house to allow them park there?
But one time they did. They did at one point, and then recently they said no.
Because there'd been vandalism at the beach after dark. People were driving cars and doing donuts on the lawn, so we decided to lock it. And we let the people at the lake house know that.
She was fine with it, the lady I talked to, but it wasn't just donuts. I mean, the building got broken into, there's graffiti on the walls, there's all kinds of unwanted paraphernalia on the ground.
Since we put our cameras up at our farm stand and we knew what was happening, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of stuff going on in this town that people don't have no clue, and it isn't good.
You come through there at 5 o'clock in the morning and cars are side by side at the beach, and they're probably not trading baseball cards.
Wednesday evening drills we'd go up to the elementary school to drill, and, on a July Wednesday evening, and you'd be surprised how many cars were up at the elementary school, side by side, and you can only guess what they're doing. And they leave immediately after the fire trucks show up too, but. Roy, you have a question?
Based on East Creek Road, doesn't the select board have some emergency powers that you can do something immediately under emergency powers?
I honestly don't have an answer to that.
To set speed limits?
Yeah, I mean, this girl, I think that lady was hit the other night.
Yeah, there's more to that story than.
Yeah, that wasn't just a traffic accident.
Okay, well, whatever. I was out there on 4th of July evening, and I was out at Green Dump around 9:15. I tried to get back to Route 4, and it was just horrendous. People were popping out of couldn't get off that road fast enough.
That was one of the reasons why the town had decided not to do fireworks at Crystal Beach, was because of that kind of turnout and the traffic issues that we had up there.
So like somebody wasn't killed.
Last year, Route 30 was like that, plus there's tractor-trailer traffic over there. Yeah, it's a lot.
Look to see if you've got any emergency powers.
We can do that.
I thought we had gotten some paperwork from Pete there a couple weeks back when we were doing the traffic ordinance regarding changing speed limits, and I had thought that the traffic study was required first, if I can remember the email chain correctly.
I think you might be right, but
It is required, but it also, if it's a gravel road and there's been no traffic study on it, it's 35 unless there's a traffic study.
Yeah.
And 25 is the lowest you can go.
Yep.
5 years to lower the speed limit.
We'll look into it, Roy. That's the best I can do right now. All right, so we're moving on to Rec Department update. Micah.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening,
I
sir.
hope everybody's enjoying this air conditioning. Thank you to Paul and his crew to be getting that going up here. So July, it's been a busy getting ready for camp and everything. So pretty quiet on getting ready for new programming, but we have some other things going on. So the rec software update, Mike was able to update me as he was coming in today that the attorney has approved the software and it should be signed tomorrow. So that's really exciting. We're excited to gain that platform on board. Unfortunately, because I wanted to get soccer registration up and going and giving us about a month for that registration, it's still going to be on HeyGov. So I think we're going to do fall still on the old HeyGov platform and then hopefully launch everything in the winter. I just want to give people plenty of time for registration with that. As I mentioned during the last select board meeting, I was looking for approval to have a logo contest, and we have ourselves a submission for the logo that we only got one submission, and then the rec commission liked it, so I was looking to move forward with logo design that was that's presented on, I think, your slide 3. So if you guys have any thoughts on it, we can always keep this the pool going. If you guys don't like it, we can always go back and try to keep looking around. So what do people have thoughts on?
I think it looks great.
I think it looks good, and it's not cast in concrete. If somebody comes up with something that's super spiffy and much better, we can always change it, right?
Exactly, yeah, it's not set in stone that we have to be
Set in
using
stone.
forever and ever. So I'm looking for authorization from the board that we can start using that for social media, and other places, to help to kind of promote recreation.
You need a motion on that, or do we just need to say go ahead?
I think we can just say go ahead. What's the rest of the board think?
I agree.
You're authorized to proceed.
Is that,
Who submitted this?
I think her name was Jessica, for her last name. I would have to relook it, but, I can definitely make sure that we get the name for the next meeting to.
Yeah, it's really
give her that
nicely
credit.
done.
Well, tell Jessica, thank you very much for the effort, and we appreciate it, and you're authorized to move forward.
Awesome. All right, we'll start using it on our social media. So rec summer camp, we have sold out, and we're actually beyond sold out for all of our weeks. So we're pretty excited how many kids in the turnout we're getting with that. The kids are having a really great time. They've been using this building here. And I wanted to give a shout out to Will and to Charles. The weeks leading up to camp, they got the fun job of calling up all the families and saying, you guys are on, we have your registered, your form in, you haven't paid yet. If you're interested in attending camp, we recommend that you start paying. And then also helping us a whole bunch of authorized pickups and making sure that was all cleared up. So they've been extremely helpful. And Will has also been helping me out with the shifts in the afternoon a little bit as well, and helping just to have another person, another body in the office. Really what the biggest challenge right now with summer camp is kind of what I always view as a job of many scales, and this one happens to be more of a new versus the old. I don't really want to go into too many details, but there's a lot of things that I am recommending for summer camp that I'm getting a little bit of resistance with the statement, this is what was done last year, why do we need to fix that? So this week's going a little bit smoother than it did last week, but we are running into a lot of butting heads of the old versus some of the new things. Tennis camp is going very successfully. We just started that today. I just talked to Frank a little while ago and I said, how did it go? And he said it went well for today, and we're planning for the heat tomorrow to bring out some water jugs and just making sure that the kids stay cool because they are in the open sun out there. But that went well. And then my understanding also, sailing camp was very successful with their start today, welcoming a lot of kids. As I mentioned in the registration update, we did open fall soccer. I'm looking at a similar format to what I did with basketball, with having a girls division, a boys division, and then a clinic. So the clinic will be for grades K to 2 co-ed, and then the boys and girls would be grades 3 and 4. I'm following the recommendation on the board on that. If we don't get enough players from that, our plan is to merge with Fairhaven. I've been in contact with Erica, the director over there, and we're charging the same rate to make that transition, if necessary, that much easier. So some key registration dates on that to know. We opened registration this past week, and the registration deadline is going to be August 9th, with practices starting at the end of August. We thought we'd give the kids a couple days to get back to the school routine and then start soccer that following week. So pretty short update this month. Any questions or anything that I can answer?
Yes.
All looks good.
Who determines, I don't know how to put this, who determines what goes on at adventure camp, what programs, what, you're busing them to the lake 3 days a week, but what about the 2 days that are here? Who determines what they do here?
Most of the schedule and a lot of the logistics have been handled by summer camp by Becky Lanfair and Bethany Link. I have been kind of more helping out to put out more of the major stuff that needs to be addressed right away, and those major fires, but a lot of those decisions have been by the seasonal camp directors.
Hypothetically, if someone was to give you $900 and ask that you hire a certain person to do a certain project, how do they go about to do that?
Yeah.
Where do they go? Who do they talk to?
Yeah.
Especially if they want a specific project.
Yeah, for specific kind of projects and those kind of deals, that immediately raises my conflict of interest flags and says, hold on, let's take a look at this. So I would probably contact the Ethics Commission at the state and just kind of check in with them, explaining the situation to them and getting their advice on that. Because it sounds a little, sounds a little hairy to me. My understanding is seasonal staff fall into that same ethics guidelines that full-time staff do as well.
I guess that answers it. Doesn't solve my problem, but it answers it. Thank you.
Anything else for Micah?
I had a question.
Go ahead, Mike.
What do you, is Dewey Field ready for soccer, like goals? Do we need to purchase goals, fix goals?
I was waiting soccer is my weakest sport, so I was gonna wait until we hired the coaches and then do a field trip over there, show them the balls that we have and make sure that they're whatever balls they wanted to use, then I would do a field trip over there.
Because we had issues about the size of the goals in the past, and I just want to make sure that we get ahead of that one, and if we need to have work done to resize goals or get new goals, that we do that.
Absolutely, yeah, I definitely want to get on that, and for sure, the good thing is we've got about a month and a half to do that, and so as soon as I get those coaches determined, I will meet with them to determine that.
Yeah, I think we don't have the small, I think there's 3 different size goals.
Yeah, there's 3 different sizes.
And we don't have the smallest ones. And last year I talked to some parents that thought that that was a cardinal sin, and others said, well, you know, they're 8-year-old kids. If the goal is 8 feet instead of 4 feet, we still play the game. It's fair for both sides. Some places we go, they have the little goals, some places they don't.
And my understanding talking with Eric over at Fairhaven is we are just responsible for hosting practices. The games and the referees are all through the league that we buy into. So if we don't have the regulation ones, it's nice to be able to have that for practices, but it's not the end of the day for the games.
Fairhaven has the portable goals for the small kids that they said we could borrow too. So, but you don't have to buy the, permanent goals. They're portable, and so we could look into what those cost. But
We had, one of the parents last year was gonna cut those down. I don't think that ever happened.
no.
I think they had made a set for Fairhaven.
I was down there when they formulated their plan, but it didn't come to fruition. Thank you.
So where do they play the games if we just host practices here?
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm still getting the details on it, and I've been trying to ask questions, but I believe it's similar to what we do for softball and basketball, where it's kind of the tri-town area, so Fairhaven, Castleton, Orwell, Benson areas.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
So this is on the agenda, 2027 fireworks.
It was there as a reminder that there was I think the board at some point wanted to have a discussion, maybe not tonight, but about the future of fireworks in Castleton. So I think that my statement would be that the fireworks that happened at the university, I don't think they were the best fireworks ever, but I don't think they were the worst fireworks ever. So I think the venue was fine. There was a lot of space used, green space used for chairs and blankets and stuff like that. Not a lot of people in the stadium, which we didn't expect, but I kind of watched the crowd from the concert, and most of them stayed. They just realigned their chairs, but it was a good turnout.
I watched them from home.
I thought there was a big crowd.
Yeah.
I only went up for the last half of the concert, and I was shocked when I got there that there weren't more people. But boy, at 9 o'clock, a lot of folks came in, and I was surprised how many people were there. What I thought was really nice was I saw a lot of families. A lot of people came with lawn chairs, and they had little kids, and the kids were running around playing, but they were, what's the dorm, or what is the building that was built where the tennis courts used to be?
That's Hoff Hall, maybe?
I was on the side of that looking at the fireworks on the grass, and there were a lot of families out there. And I think the food vendors did really well. Everybody was coming out carrying
Nachos in a bag.
nachos in a bag or pulled pork sandwiches, and it was really nice to see the families out.
Was parking, I was out of town that night, was parking an issue, Mark?
No, there's a lot of parking,
Yeah, there is
I mean,
quite a
they've
few
got-
spots up there.
big spaces. I don't know how you compare how the crowd was there to how the crowd is at the lake. You know, you can't go out and count boats and count cars, and I don't know. It'd be really interesting to get a response from people in the community. You know, personally, I don't care if we ever do fireworks again, but if it's on the ballot, whether people want to spend that much money to do fireworks, it would be nice to see where they want to have them.
I think $20,000 is too much to spend on fireworks myself, but that's just me.
We stretch them out to 25 minutes. That's why some of the cadence is slower, just so it's, you could do, that $20,000 could be done at 15 minutes.
I mean, I think we went from the town of Castleton giving, I'd have to go back through because I have the numbers somewhere, giving $500 or $1,000 back in the early 20-teens to now we're spending $20,000 because the other group that did it gave it up. So
I don't know exactly, but it's been 3 to 5 years at least since LBA has contributed to the fireworks.
Boy, somebody spent a lot Saturday night, I'll tell you that.
I mean, my personal opinion would be that the town doesn't do the fireworks anymore, and we would decide sooner than later, so that would give private organizations to time to fundraise or do whatever they need to do to come up with the money in a venue, because I think that the people, from what all the comments were, I think the people that want it on the lake were more outspoken than the people that didn't, and I don't think as a town that we should put it on the lake. I don't think, you know, Roy talked about trying to get down Creek Road, so there's no place to have it on that side that's not gonna be a mess. Crystal Beach is gonna be a mess. I don't think there's a safe location to have it.
Or like the golf course setting, there's no parking.
There's no place to park around the lake that is not gonna become an issue, and I don't think the towns should accept that liability. As a taxpayer, I don't think we should put people in there, because if something happens, they're gonna say, you knew there was a liability issue here, the police chief came to you last year and said, this is an issue, we need to move it, and you didn't do anything, or you moved it back, and now, you know, my child or whatever got hit by a car and has problems. I don't feel that the liability is worth it for the town of Castleton.
I don't either, I agree with you.
You know, we talked about, you know, we have a new company or whatever that bought that one out, and they're not certain if they want to be able to launch them over where they were launching them before. I hadn't realized until now that the fire department was spraying down boats when we were launching fireworks off so the canvases don't get burned. We can't be putting people's private property in jeopardy for a fireworks show. The gas tanks vent on them boats, we're burning interiors of people's boats. I'm not willing to do that. And I think if we can, whether we gotta go to the community and ask their input sooner than later, if a group wants to host fireworks, they need to start fundraising now and organizing now. Because it's
Well,
20.
if you got something on the ballot for November, asking the taxpayer when they go vote in November if they would be interested in having the fireworks or not having the fireworks.
Because it's
Have the town pay for it.
I would agree with Charlie, because it's a lot of preparation. I mean, it's $20,000 for the fireworks, but it's also all the stuff from all the departments that go ahead of time, so it's more than $20,000 that we're paying. And I think on the ballot the past couple of years, the wording has been maybe not as clear as it could be, because it says, should we spend $20,000 on 4th of July parade, Memorial Day parade, 4th of July fireworks, or something, however it's worded, don't quote me on that, but it doesn't say specifically, shall we spend $20,000 on fireworks?
If it's on the November ballot, it gives the board an opportunity to hear what the people want before it goes on our budget for, you know, for the
Yeah,
next
it
year.
should be made clear to whatever format we present it, that the Crystal Beach is not a viable option.
And
I think this board all agrees on that.
I heard a lot of complaints that it wasn't on July 4th, that we didn't have the fireworks on July 4th this year. And part of that reason was we lost July 4th because we couldn't sign a contract until after the voters said, we'll give you the money. So we picked the only date that we could, which was July 3rd.
And that starts in October.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that there's always gonna be issues, you know, we can't have it on the college on a Saturday night because of the rodeo. So whatever the calendar falls on, you know, we can't have it Saturday night at the college. I just think that for the cost and everything that goes into it, I don't think it's worth it for the town, but that's my opinion. People can call me bah humbug or whatever, I guess is fine, but I just think we leave ourselves open, having it on the lake to a lot of liability, and I just think 20,000 is too much money.
Well, Pyrotechnico will not do it up there.
We all know the
July 4th is on Sunday next year.
Crystal Beach is not a viable option, we all know that. I think we all agree to that. Or everyone on this board agrees that Crystal Beach is not a viable option. I think that Rob's point about the wording on the, if we do a ballot article for fireworks next year, it should be that specifically. And then the other one should be a separate article for the parade and whatever else, delight and Fourth and Independence Day decorations or whatever it was. That there should be a separate ballot article for fireworks, if this board and the town manager decide to even include it in the budget. It sounds like at least 20% of the board or 40% of the board is not in favor of that to begin with.
I would say, like Charlie says, put it on the ballot in November, and we'll see what the appetite is for it.
It should be made especially clear when we pose that question to the voters that the fireworks will not take place at Crystal Beach.
I don't think that we can have it, honestly. I like it at Crystal Beach because I can sit on my parents' deck and watch it. I mean, I got the best view of the fireworks ever, but I've also seen the traffic issues there firsthand for as long as I can remember now, and it's not a good idea. And I think that there was some issues this year with trash being left in the lake. I don't know if you guys saw any of those Facebook posts, how much garbage was left in the lake after July, I'm going to say July, the afternoon of July 4th till the end of the fireworks show. The amount of garbage that was picked up in the lake was out of control. We can't pick up garbage in the lake. If somebody leaves a bunch of garbage on a lawn somewhere, we can pick that up, but in the lake, you're not going to get it all.
All right, so we're going to move on. So this, Nancy?
Oh, I don't, is it okay to ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, would it be a good idea for the select board to have already determined the alternate spot, the spot that will not be Crystal Beach, so that when people are voting, you know, it's just a clear yes or no motion? You can talk about that probably another time, but.
Yeah, I think that we'd have to find out if the university is a viable option, and if it is, then that would be the way the question would have to be posed.
Right.
Because we've already established that Crystal Beach is not a viable option.
Yeah, instead of having to say not Crystal Beach, have another option.
That makes sense. Well, we got time to figure out how to pose the question. How soon before the November election would we have to have?
I don't know, I made a note to ask Jan.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
find that out, and then we'll go from there.
Like I said, I'm certainly not opposed to fireworks on the lake. You know, if another group of people or organization wants to do that, that's fine, but I'm opposed to the liability that it puts the town into.
And I understand that and agree with that, so let's move, we're gonna move on. Properties for tax sale. We have our new list. So we really basically don't need to do anything with this except accept it.
Yeah, just the list of, we provided you a list of all the properties that meet the current criteria, so they're over $1,500 and 1 year delinquent. So the properties that ended this June 30th of this year have to wait all the way through the next cycle until June 30th of next year to become eligible. But this list gives you the ones that are eligible now. And I think it was $664,000 that the town has not collected in delinquent taxes, going back into, if you look at that list, back into 2013 is the oldest one. But we have a couple properties that, those oldest ones that are no longer even being taxed. We couldn't find, there's two properties originally, now it's one that we can't find who owns it. We had the attorneys doing research and everything else, and they couldn't find heirs and assigns to that property. So the town so I asked Megan this past week to find out what legally we can do. I don't care what stories people tell me, what we did in the past, I just wanna know what's legal now, so that I can give you guys good, solid information to act on.
Have we reached out to all these people to try to work out, to get a plan started with them?
Yep. Some of them have been on plans multiple times, and that's like that was more than once. Normally, once they come, if they don't honor the agreement, then they go back up for tax sale. But we've given some people multiple chances because I mean, I certainly, and I've said this to the board, and I've said it publicly, I don't want to see anybody lose their property. That's kind of just a really crappy place to be. So we've kind of bent the rules a little bit to try to help them out, but it comes a point where they don't respond anymore.
And it's also unfair to the other taxpayers to have to pay it for them, so.
So that's, you have sewer and property taxes, and Megan gave me a separate sheet. The totals was $664,503.36. And the majority of those being this year. The year that ended June 30th of 26. That was, out of that whole total of this year's delinquent is $436,353.71.
Isn't there at least one property that's already been up for sale that's close to being no longer eligible for redemption?
There's two properties, one, and that's, I'm not use names, but, there's two properties. 29th of July is they have to redeem them by that date. And I was working with other municipal members and some residents to reach out to one of them to see what was going on. I don't know if both parties in the household know what's going on. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows. And the other property, the person came in and acknowledged it and said, I'm hoping to have payment by this coming Friday. It was like 39,000.
So all these ones that are on here, they're going up for tax sale?
I come back to the board, we talked to, the same attorney that we're using now, and they want to limit it to 12 properties. And I said, well, depending on what the select board wants to do, we may have to find a different attorney that does tax sales, and that will do more than 12.
How many are there?
Oh, I don't know,
23, I think.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not, there's no spreadsheet that tells me which ones are highlighted yellow. I have to count them.
Well, I'm only 4 pages in, and I've already got 13 that are over 2 years out.
27 on
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
27 on the property tax.
And some of them are 4 years out.
Well, I mean, we got one that's 19,000, we got one that's 27,000, 11,000, 11,000, 6,000, 3,800, 6,600, 28,000, 12,000.
Yeah, there's a couple of properties here that are both delinquent on taxes and sewer out 3 and 4 years.
Yeah. And you see that a lot of the sewer stuff is less a quantity or amount than the property taxes, but.
Well, the dollar amount is less, but the time frame is similar.
Yeah.
When was the last time that these people, well, any rough estimate of when the last time that any of these people were all reached out to? Recently?
Quarterly. So when Megan sends out the quarterly tax statements, if they're delinquent, then she lets them know.
I wonder if it wouldn't be worthwhile, since it's only 27, to send a letter out to all of them, separate from the tax statement or their taxes, and just say, you're so much behind, and if it's not if you don't come up with some money by a certain period of time, we're gonna have no choice but to move forward with tax sale.
We discussed that last week about, once I talked to you, of what the board wanted to do, or will support. That we'll get a letter drafted with some kind of end date that says by this time, there'll be a decision to send stuff to tax sale.
We're encouraging you to get on a payment plan. We certainly don't wanna send anybody to tax sale, but.
And then they got a year from the date of the sale to redeem their property unless there's some federal liens on it, like the IRS, then it.
But with,
extends it.
was it 10% they have to pay the purchaser in order to get it back?
1% per month.
Yeah, something like that.
So, I mean, a lot of folks will come to tax sale and they'll try to buy these properties because they know they're gonna make money on them. And usually the people redeem them, but they come in at that nth hour and redeem them. We've only had one property that really went for tax sale in the last few years. They come in the last minute and they redeem it. But I'm concerned that there's one that's not gonna be able to.
We hate to see that.
Yep. And I deal with them, I mean, on a personal level, because I talk to them and try to set them up on the payment plans, and I hear why they're having problems, and it's heartbreaking sometimes, you know, because you're like, I understand where you're at, but I also know that there's a policy in place and we're trying to abide by the policy.
And there's other taxpayers that are struggling as well to make their payments, and they're having to cover other people's as well, so. I think getting a letter out is the start of it to see if we can maybe knock this down from 27, maybe to the 12.
But I also can say that we've reached out to a lot of the folks that are around here, and some have been on payment plans in the past, but they also, someone will say, I can afford to pay, you know, an extra $50 a month, and you're like, at this rate, you're gonna pay it off in 32 years, and doesn't really fly either.
Well, this one person on the front page here is in the whole $19,147. $50 a week is not gonna put a big dent in it.
And they keep accruing the penalties and interest, that's the problem.
What is the interest?
I don't recall off the top of my head. I don't calculate that, so. I forgot what percentage it is.
24, isn't it?
I don't think it's that much.
1.5%, is it?
It's a high, but I don't think it's that much.
It's-
To encourage people to pay.
Yeah, it's a penalty, and that's,
1.5%. There always was, I don't know what it is now.
I don't think it's changed, Charlie, so it's probably 18% a year. It's a penalty.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's designed to be a deterrent. You pay on time or pay interest.
And we're one of the only towns around, I'll say one of the only, I should rephrase that. When I asked Megan to do some research of what other towns are doing, and she talked to the attorney that's doing this and said that Castleton gives a 30-day grace period, where a lot of towns don't give even a 30-day grace period. They're due by like May 31st, and that's it. We give them to June 30th, so there's even some leniency there.
Yeah, Holtby's different though, they don't charge anything
Yeah.
for the whole year. If you don't pay your first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, you don't pay anything until the end of the year.
Yeah.
No interest till the end of the year.
Just-
Yeah, because penalties are different than interest. Interest is done at the end of the year, where penalties are quarterly.
So we're gonna take no action on this except be aware of it, and I think you're right, Rob, that we should be a little proactive, or as proactive as we can to.
Just so you're aware, I mean, I don't want you to sound like that we're not doing anything, because she sends out,
Oh, no,
she sends out notices, she calls people personally, tries to have the personal relationship and connection, and it works sometimes, and other times it doesn't.
But I particularly would be concerned about the people that are 3 and 4 years out. I didn't see anyone 5 years out, but I haven't, there's, if they're 3 and 4 years out, then there's a problem, and I think those people should be targeted at least with a letter and realize that the threat is real.
Yeah, once you get to that point, it's just hard to catch up. All right.
Well, there's one that's 6 years out. Sewer, that was on sewer, not on. All right, we're gonna move on. Rec center lease agreement. Are we ready to close on that, or?
Yes, I gave you copies of the final. One of the things that got brought up today, and I'm in disagreement with our attorney, but, you have a copy of the email, but basically it said, well, the statute doesn't say this, but this would be good practice. So it's the conveyance. So within 10 days of the signing of this lease agreement, the property, she's saying it should be that 24 VSA 1061 conveyance of real property should be done. And it's technically, it's not required, but, because you can lease the property or rent it and it's not a conveyance. But she's saying, our attorney, basically, you got the email, I kind of paraphrasing it, said, basically, we can talk about this, but, it's not a requirement, but this would be good practice. So you don't come up, all of a sudden, somebody comes up later and says, I didn't know you were doing this, and I hate you, and I'm gonna take away your birthday. I don't know. But it's up to you how you wanna go about it, but.
What's the rest of the board think?
What does that involve other than doing a 1061 notice?
Just to put it in the papers, I'll follow the statute, what it says, and within that 10-day period, if someone gets a petition and tries to block the lease of it, then they can do it.
Well, they'd have to get a petition of 5% of the voters, and then they would have to, or then we would have to call a vote. At either a special,
election, yeah.
at a special election or at a town meeting.
Which
I don't think it's required.
That's what I read that, previously, and I said that in my email to her, and I'm like, but I just wanted to share with you what she had said, because it's her legal opinion. And
She says that it's unclear. It doesn't say one way or the other.
it's just totally ambiguous.
I think it's a waste of time.
I mean, as far as public meetings goes, it's been talked about for
It's been talked
a year.
about, right.
We've been negotiating with Vermont Sports Medicine for a year
I mean, open meetings.
in
They've
open
been here.
meetings, and we're not conveying property. We're not selling it. We're renting it.
There's another clause in there, and I think I gave you copies of it. If you were to have property that was gonna be used for housing development and that stuff, there's other ways to use this lease to do that kind of stuff, or do a lease on it, but this is totally different. This is not conveying, it's just a lease agreement on a piece of property that has nothing to do with housing and.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that we should bother to do it.
I agree with you, Mark. What's the rest of the board's pleasure?
If it doesn't say it in the title, in the statute, then I don't know why. I mean, I understand that she's just trying to cover all bases, but are we gonna do that every time we run out something here?
Technically. By what she's
I think all we've had, I understand where she's coming from, but I think all we've had is positive support for this, so I think we'll be safe.
It's gonna defray, what, 25 or 30% of the cost of this building?
Somebody you could stand up at the transfer station this weekend and get 150 people to sign a petition that said anything. That we're gonna hang Mike upside down from the flagpole.
Well, they'd ought to be
At
signing that one.
half-mast.
And it's just looking
Not this
for
one.
trouble, in my opinion. This
You have
has
an
all been
opinion,
at
Mary
public
Lee?
meetings, it's all above board, it's all
I
legal.
think we should go with it.
It's gonna save the taxpayers $50,000 in expenses on this building.
Let's move forward.
We're acting in the best
Best
interest of the
interest of the
community to
town.
do this.
Do we all agree that we're gonna just move forward?
Correct.
You are authorized to proceed, Mike.
Okay, I'll let him know tomorrow. Thank you.
Highway Department. Jeff, you still there?
He's held on, this is way past his bedtime.
Way past my bedtime.
He's up at 2:45 riding on his bike, so.
Well, actually, we're only 14 minutes behind schedule, so it could be worse.
He's watching World Cup, he's not going to bed.
No, there's nothing on tonight.
There's nothing on tonight, I was gonna say.
He's watching
All right, well,
reruns.
You guys have the sheet. If you don't, as far as equipment, the 15 single axles having some dump issues that is gonna have to go out of house. It's scheduled to go to Earl's on the 28th. The 13 tandem is still Bed chain doesn't operate. There's talks of it being sold, so we're not using it because it is a functioning truck right now. The 2019 tandem having all rear brakes replaced, so it is not operational. The over-the-rail's been doing well. It's having some shifting issues that is to be determined. Evan's going to get some eyes on that. Hopefully a little more tomorrow. The track list is in its same state. The South Street culvert, the triple, that started today. So Mountain View had their sign package put up. They have requested to have 3 sections of culvert loaded, and we will be drawing some gravel and delivering that to them over the next few days as well. So as far as road maintenance, we wrapped up over on Crystal Haven for now. There's still a little bit of work to rip out a culvert that was originally installed on the northeast corner, up where they connect East and West Crystal Haven. It doesn't really have a function, so we're going to pull that out, I believe, per request of one of the residents. The water sits in a ditch and heads that way, so that will be taken care of when we're back out for maintenance next year. Cedar Mountain is moving along nicely. All the residents have been fantastic and appreciative, cooperative, and if anybody's been out there, they're doing a really, really nice job. So that's a good thing. Yeah, we had a little work to do out on Old Town. Not a big stretch of road, but it needs a little bit of love. And after watching a box truck come through the other day and smoke a bunch of trees, we'll be doing that'll get a roadside trimming and limbing. After that, we'll be heading to Moscow Road for grant work, where we will remain a majority of the summer. So, any questions on equipment, maintenance, personnel? Everybody's happy, healthy, safe. So, that's also a good thing.
Jeff, the 2019 tandem with the rear brakes, is that happening in-house?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And Evan did get the compression tester for the wood chipper, so he can do the compression test on that. Stop laughing, Jeff.
You're not getting a different wood chipper, so you better be hoping he gets that one going.
I know, I'm getting that rabid beaver from Lake George.
Yeah.
No, we do have that, we did buy that culvert for Brown Farm Road, that to replace, we did that field trip up there, you guys saw that.
Yep.
So we have all the pieces, parts to do that. And the stormwater, hold on, let's see what's on the agenda again. We'll wait
What's the next item
it's
on the
yeah, it's
agenda?
on the agenda, so.
Any questions for Jeff on the highway department update?
I have a statement I want to, I'd ask him to give you an update on the need for crushing, on the gravel pit, and so you're aware of what's going on.
Okay.
So Jeff, if you wouldn't mind addressing the board on that, the crushing.
Yeah, we're good with our material. We did get, I believe, 300 yards of millings that we received from Peckham, and it's up in the pit, and that will be mixed in with the crushing next year. So we'll have to put that out to bid, under 5,000 yards up there. So that'll be a nice little blend to help offset with those millings.
Right, and I believe that the sand, the winter sand that we have, Jeff just gave me some quotes, or bid packets for stone, but I don't think we're going to have to buy much, if at all, any winter sand for going into this year again.
Excellent.
Oh, nice.
If we can just get that old crappy pile down to, getting rid of that stuff. It's a lot of fines now. It's over the years, it's kind of fallen, and it's a lot of fines, but, put more stone in that. But it means we don't have to spend the money, for a lot of winter sand.
And the highway department can certainly use that money somewhere else.
Well, the price of salt was probably gonna go stupid, so we gotta brace ourselves for that too.
Is the pit still adequate to mine gravel and get it crushed?
We had a company member come in and they told us it's too much clay.
Yeah, I
And then we had
remember
another
that.
company come in and said, I don't know what they're digging, but showed us that, physically showed us that it's not. So there's still some years in there that we can crush, but we're not crushing every year.
Jeff, those culverts on Coriel Road, those are right down by the lake?
Yes, they're gonna be monitored, they're opened up, I think it was one of those freak years where, and maybe it had just been, maybe not, as maintained as well as it should, so, we get out there and make sure they're opened up and we haven't had any, issues or damage, so, we're allowed to pull a little bit of material out of there. And the water's moving.
How far does Castleton own that road? Does it go up to the state land?
No, it basically goes,
To the corner, I believe, where you start up the hill.
Yeah, we go the hill, yeah.
yeah, before it starts to the far end driveways.
Gotcha.
And also, the board should know that, I talked to Jeff today, but getting, two of our other younger, newer employees trained on the excavator and the grader so that we can start building that pool of qualified operators, because Mike Smith won't be here forever and, Evan will not be here forever, so we got to start building within to get more qualified operators.
Anything we can do for you, Jeff?
No,
As long as it doesn't cost money?
Other than on there, at some point, there's with the track list being inoperable and the skid steer will be our primary use to clear sidewalks, and I know that's not it's not ideal for anybody, I don't think. But we're going to continue to put sidewalks in. It would behoove us to have a reliable piece of equipment. Doesn't have to be shiny new, but it should be able to work.
So I talked to Jeff about this. I'll come back to the board after I meet with him and Evan with a recommendation for that, so. But, because there's many reasons why, and I won't belabor it right now, but we'll put that in the presentation to you and just kind of make a pitch to you.
Just one question. What about the tree on Cedar Mountain Road?
The ash tree. So I talked, Jeff, go ahead. You know more about it than I do.
It's just right out in the road. The water, there's no ditch there. So it's on a hill that runs down from, I'm sure you guys have a name, but it runs from the Red Barn down to Yellow Finch. It's downhill, the tree's in the road, water hits the tree, jumps out in the road.
Is it our tree?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, none of them are our trees. It's in the right of way.
It's in the right of way, so it impedes, it damages infrastructure. It causes water to go in the road instead of being able to be in a ditch.
The gentleman just doesn't want his tree removed. That's the big issue, but, so told me today that he's gonna keep monitoring it, and, if it starts doing damage to the road, then we move to the next step, but right now, we're trying to work with him and not have to take the tree down if we don't have to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about village stormwater catch basins.
Well, as of today, Jeff came in to me and looked at me with that shit-eating grin and said, I got some good news. And I thought he was joking, because he never has good news. But go ahead, Jeff, tell him about the catch basins.
Is it still good news, Jeff?
No, it's totally different now.
Okay, well, tell us what's
No,
different.
I'm messing with you, Mike. I got called down by V-Trans to look at a catch basin that they said needed to be rehabbed. And I was like, well, yeah, you have it open, let's do it. What is it, what's it gonna cost? And they said, oh, it's included in the contract. And I was like, well, I was like, have you ever heard a town say they don't want work done for free? And I'm not gonna start. So I said that we have a bunch of other ones that need it too. And I was joking. And they said, well, those have already been done. So part of their contract, Waters, is to go through and rehab not the pipe that connects the structures, but they have rehabbed the structures, and they're not new, but they've given them life, so to speak.
So 2 of the 4 that we originally, the 2 at the end of Elm and Main, we went down there today and looked at them, and plus some other ones, but those 2 that we were talking about paying to replace, they're rehabbing those.
Wow.
So we still gotta do the one on Seminary and the one on Elm Street?
The 2 on Elm would still be in play, but after I met with Jeff down there today, he was gonna meet with John Granger from Peckham, and I'm like, why can't we just get the road pitched in front of the library so the water gets to the catch basin rather than being a low spot? Because that's a lot of money to put a catch basin in there. We're talking $70,000 with the pipe, the catch basin, the pavement and everything else. So he's gonna talk with John Granger from Peckham and say, that's what we want to do. And the curbing there?
Meet with him tomorrow.
Okay. And then the curbing, the curbing really needs to be reset there, but so the water can flow along into that catch basin that's west of the library. And the same with the ones that are with Rob Stalter and Shirley Sequin complaining about the water ponding in front of their places that, we talked to, Jeff talked to John Granger and said, we need you to get the water there. That's the purpose. So we'll look at it, and then if it does need some milling to make a little swale to get it there, that's cheaper than $79,000 for, now that one in front of the library was part of the grant. But we're not gonna have to spend the money, because it'll work without it, then why tear up the ground?
Right.
I'd rather save that money and come back to the board and say, in 3 years, or when the sidewalk project goes in, we could get some new curbing, so that curbing is effective along with the new sidewalks. Because that stuff looks like hell.
I thought you specifically said there was gonna be an update on the pipe.
Yeah, there is.
That's the next item on the agenda. This is a separate item.
So you will, can I?
Certainly, Nancy.
This is why I stayed for the meeting. So you will be dealing with either with this new plan, with the water that collects in front of the library, or use the grant money, one way or the other. Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna try to be the least invasive as possible and make it effective. But if it doesn't work, then we gotta go the other route.
If they can't do it with pavement pitch, then we're gonna have to put a catch basin in.
And so what would that timing be then? Like how soon?
They're paving, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Nancy. Did you wanna finish?
I think you knew what I was gonna say, it's fine.
Today when I met with Jeff, he got a update on paving from Peckham, and they said, oh, we're coming back like next week or something. So originally it was gonna be in August.
Right.
So now they're talking about, they got Waters in there doing all those rehabs and elevations for manhole covers and all that. And Jeff, they say next week?
Yeah, the 20th, I think it's next Monday.
They're gonna be putting the riding surface down.
Yeah.
So is that gonna cause issues with what we needed to do, or they're doing that now?
They've already done, it's everything that, besides putting something in front of the library.
They're taking care of the rest of it.
Those stuff's taken care of, our stuff's out of their paving right away.
Good.
So are you confident that they can provide a pavement pitch to drain the water in front of the library?
I talked to Jeff today and said, we need to be stomping up and down on John Granger, and he said yes, that's what we're gonna do, so. I did tell Jeff, I said, I just want you to be down there in his back pocket when they're doing this stuff to keep an eye on it.
Because that was one of the things that we specifically wanted to fix before this was done.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know they were gonna rehab the manholes.
So we don't need to do anything with this then now?
Oh, the only thing is, he does need to come back to us with the two on Elm Street that need to be done that are outside of this. So, but he knows that. Jeff knows that.
Perfect.
That's really good news.
That is good news.
That's because Jeff is magic.
Magic Jeff.
All right, now we're gonna talk about West Crystal Haven stormwater update.
So I think the board saw Tom's email.
Yes.
And while that was all happening, Jeff had reached out to some contractors that were up there originally, and then some didn't want to do the job. They said, no, that's way too, you guys are being foolish. But there is a contractor that did submit a bid for replacement of the pipe, cutting the seawall, putting the new pipe in, repouring the seawall, fixing the patio that's sunk, let's see, it said, remove existing pipe, trench new training wall, even to remove and reset bluestone patio, insert new pipe through seawall without cutting it, restore all surfaces, grass, asphalt, gravel after construction. So I think the board wanted that information so that you could talk to the landowner, and
That would include restoring his parking area and properly repairing the seawall and resetting the patio, right?
Yep. And I think you put a note in there. It says, if it is possible, we'll have to add new pieces of bluestone. We will not guarantee they will perfectly match the weathered look of the current bluestone.
Does that sound acceptable, Tom?
I have to see it in writing, but you're gonna cut the seawall or no?
Jeff, can you speak on that?
Yeah, my understanding when I met with all the dudes out there is that it was gonna have to get cut. It hinged up off the top of it, and it's cracked. And as soon as you start to mess with it, it's gonna break. So you're best off doing control cuts. So it had to be cut, pinned, and repoured.
So that's different than what this scope of work says on this quote that we've got here, where it says insert new pipe through the current seawall without cutting it.
I'll talk to Josh tomorrow. I gotta see him first thing in the morning anyway. If he can sleeve something through there,
No, that's not acceptable.
then I guess fantastic, but I don't know. I'll talk to Josh, that's his bid, I'm not gonna step on his toes.
We'll follow up. Another contractor was supposed to give us a bid that said he was interested, and he didn't give it to us, so maybe by talking to him about the seawall, cutting it and pinning it and repouring it, we can get another bid too.
I can't see it, Tom. Would you be good with that, Tom?
I have to see it in writing, but I have to see it in writing, and I want to speak to the person that's doing it, because there's two cracks in the seawall. The seawall is shifting. So if you're just going to replace a 3-foot section of it and leave the other part shifting and the cracks on the other side, I don't know that that's acceptable. So I don't know where the seawall is. There's water been pouring behind the seawall. Correct or not correct?
I can't confirm or deny that, Mike.
You've seen the pictures.
The pipe is separated. I'll acknowledge that the pipe is separated not too far from the inside the seawall, so there's most definitely water's not getting, all the water's not getting through the pipe.
I will agree with that, yes.
The water is pooling and freezing behind the seawall. So if you look from the water side to the north side of the opening, you can see where it's all fluorescing and cracking. If you're on the south side of it, where it cracked and shifted, so the seawall is not in one plane anymore. Right? So it has to be determined where, you can't just patch into if it's all into something that's garbage next to it. So I don't know how big that cut is, and will the cut encompass all the damage that's there?
Well, first of all, I think we have, our attorney was still got all that paperwork and we still, I think we wanted them to confirm the easement part too, right? I think that was just a.
You say you have an easement.
I know that, but you argue with us, Tom, so. No, yes, you do. So I think that we get the opinion from the attorney, we get this updated about what they're gonna cut, and we come back to this again and present it to Tom and see if it's acceptable.
I would like to see if we're gonna update this or whatever, if we can get the people that are gonna be bidding on it to meet with Tom up there to explain exactly what they're gonna do.
Listen, this is a major job on my property. It's gonna tear up my whole property.
But Tom, you wanted us to fix it, so I think you can't get away with
I
it.
want it done correctly. That's why I want to speak to the guy.
That's what I just said.
Is it a 3-foot cut? Is it a 6-foot cut? Do they have to cut it back to where the wall is good again? You
So-
know,
I think they're gonna cut out just where the pipe is.
what about the damage? I mean, in February, I sent you that letter. And we still haven't had the VLTC come to my property to even look at it yet or speak to me. If a tree fell on your house and you called your insurance company and 6 months later they called you, that would not be acceptable. But that's where I'm at now. So the VLTC has to come and determine, or an engineer, somebody has to determine what the problem, broken pipe, what problems it has caused.
I can say that the attorney, or the VLCT rep said that if there's gonna be a site visit, she also wants to be down here. So if we can arrange for the contractor to be there with VLCT rep, then that seems to be the logical course.
So let's do it then. And Tom, obviously, Tom's gotta be there as well.
Listen, I am in agreement that this has to be done. I've been asking the town to do this for going on 10 years. So, but it has to be done correctly, and there's more, and 10 years ago, there was a lot less work to be done. Right?
Tom, do you wanna meet with the VLCT, the contractor, and the attorney?
Yes.
Okay, then that's what we're gonna do.
We're gonna make that happen.
Okay. Do we have any, well.
We don't know the date yet, cause we gotta talk to them first, and we'll reach out and make sure that it works with your schedule and their schedule, and we can get everybody together down there. Is that good?
Well, we'll see.
That's what you just asked for.
Right, that's what I asked for, but
So-
I don't, from what I've read, do you need state permits to do this?
You don't need the state permits to do repairs on a retaining wall. If you were gonna replace the retaining wall, you would need a permit.
You need a state permit to cut that seawall.
Repairs for a lake encroachment permit. Repairs on a seawall don't require a lake encroachment permit. I'm very familiar on this.
No, cutting the seawall and replacing a 3-foot section, a 6-foot section, or an 8-foot section, whatever it needs to be.
That's a repair to the existing seawall, not a replacement of the entire seawall.
Let's not debate that right here. This is not the time and place to debate that.
Mike had, when we spoke, back again, when we spoke to the state, when they said, no, when you replace the pipe, you don't need that. If you touch the seawall, you need a state permit. That's what the state representative told Mike and I. So if that's not true, that's not true. I don't know, but that's what the state representative said. So I don't think all your ducks are in order yet, so.
Can you direct me to have Jeff meet with this
Yes.
contractor, and we'll get this thing rolling, and I'll reach out to VLCT and.
Yeah, let's get all the players.
In the past is not solving
Reach out to the
anything.
state and see if we do need a state permit.
We will do that too. We're gonna get all the players in play and
So,
Yep, I will do that.
so yes, I think we're moving in the right direction, and I appreciate that, but I want it has to be done correctly.
we understand that and we agree with that.
We're all on the same page.
So Mike, you're gonna get this ball rolling?
Yep.
Let me know what I can do to help.
We'll keep you informed along the way, because I'll let you know what's happening, because if you want to be there, that way you'll know what the timeline is.
At least one member of the board should be there. Whether it's me, Rob, Mark, Mary Lee, Bob, isn't necessarily as important as having a member of the board there.
Just let me know.
Fair
Who's
enough.
the contractor?
We don't know if we
Well, I
get,
mean, you have one bid, who's that?
I don't know the name of him. Jeff, what's the name of the contractor?
That's Mountain View, same guys in the trestle.
Okay, Mountain View. All right, so Jeff's acknowledged that he was gonna call him tomorrow.
Okay.
He'll call Olin Reed tomorrow from Lakes and Shores, and we'll get that
Get the
resolved
ball
as well.
rolling.
Yep,
And we need to build a fire under VLCT too.
yep, well, they're just waiting right now, the attorney's got it, and, as far as the easement goes, but as far as the site visit, they already said that we wanna be there when we have one, so I don't think that's, having a site visit, isn't dependent on the easement part.
Okay. I think we've got the appropriate fire built under this now, Tom. We'll see.
I hope so.
Okay, let's talk about Tyler Technologies. Mark, you're up.
Okay, so, have a good night, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Obviously, the appraisal's all done, we've been through all that. We certainly had a few issues with Tyler, the biggest one being that we didn't have the assessor's book, which is kind of the formula the assessor would use if someone came in and said, why is my home appraised for $400,000? That book has the mechanics to show how you come up with that. How much lakefront is worth, how much you deduct for rocky, poor beach or something like that. And they had not provided that. And Mary Jo was adamant that that was really the biggest piece missing. So we contacted Tyler, told him we weren't gonna pay that last $25,000 until we got that done. And they did that, did a nice job, did it to Mary Jo's satisfaction. There's certainly some work that I think we all agree wasn't done to our satisfaction. But none of us are real estate experts or appraisal experts. I've reached out to a couple local real estate agents trying to get opinions on inconsistencies, and I didn't get anywhere with that. So as much as I don't like it, I think the time has come to pay our last installment to Tyler Technologies. I think that the issues that we could identify and clearly define, they took care of. There's other things that are squishier that we're not happy with, but they have offered to send people back to do whatever we want them to do. The issues that are apt to come up aren't gonna, they're not in a neat folder. Things are gonna come up 6 months from now, a year from now, inconsistencies, but we can't identify those today. So, Tyler is saying, you tell us what you need, we'll send someone back to fix it. But as of right now, we can't identify all those things. We can say, some neighborhoods look inconsistent compared to others, but I don't have any legal standing to justify that. It's just, I go, well, when I look in the real estate ads, it doesn't look that way. So at this point, I think we can drag this on for another 2 years, but I think we just need to pay the bill.
No. They did a lousy job, and they should reduce that bill by something in good faith.
How would you define the lousy job?
The lying that they did, I've been to your house and no, they hadn't. That's a lousy job.
Correct. You were at the meeting that we had when not John Vickery, he was the man that was here.
John Valente.
John Valente, his supervisor, came up. We had that meeting, you were there. And everything that we identified, they went back and redid. And to that point, if you say, hey, no one ever came to my house after that, he'll send someone up to do it.
But at this point, the new assessment has been done, it's written. August, is it August we get the bills? Coming and changing my assessment today isn't gonna do me any good.
That's why I'm suggesting that we pay the bill. I don't think that we're in a position,
I'm saying they should give us something off.
The question, I guess, I think, is did they fulfill their contract or not? That's
I don't feel they did.
that's the end of the, you know. Whether Mary Lee, whether they lied and said they didn't come to your house or not, if they did at the end, does that make their contract fulfilled? I mean, we had to get after them to do it, but does that fulfill the contract?
Yes, but there's a lot of them that they didn't go to,
But we can't prove that.
other than the people saying they didn't.
if you can identify any, they'll come up and do it. That's what they're saying.
But you
Anything,
can't change it now, it's already.
It would change it for next year. The grand list has been, the assessments have been done, but they could grieve it for next year.
it would change next year, yeah.
Well, that's-
I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying it's,
That's leaving the onus on the taxpayer that wasn't treated right in the first place.
Mhm.
Okay? And we should be protecting our taxpayers. And I don't feel that we are protecting them if they didn't do what they said they were gonna do and then out and out lie that they did it, but they didn't do it.
Well-
I feel they should give us at least something off the bill in good faith for a job not well done.
they're not gonna say it wasn't well done. They're gonna say, what they have said, I'm not guessing here, this is what they have said to me is, you give me a list of anything that wasn't done correctly, we'll come back and do it. And once you've reached that point, you're kind of out of negotiating chips. I mean, we had a good one with the assessor's book, and they came back and it took,
Which was too late. When they gave it to her, it was too late.
it was, but
So
they did
that's
it.
not good faith, that's too late.
But the contract hadn't been totally executed at that time either. We're still open. That's I think if we don't pay them, they're gonna probably take us to court. And then the burden of proof will be on us to say, you didn't do something, and then what will the courts decide what's fair and not fair? I don't know I just don't know if there's a leg to stand on. I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying, Mary Lee. I think the public opinion would be, if somebody ever asked me, would you hire Tyler Technologies to do something? You could give them an answer based on whatever your feelings are. But I don't know if you could win this in a court battle.
I've had a lot of calls with John Valente, and, you know, I think the big tangible thing was that assessor's book. You know, that this entire job would have been nearly worthless if we didn't have that collated information that defended the way these values came up at. And apparently, for towns that don't have an assessor, they don't do the book. It should be part of it, but they only do it when you ask. And the only towns that ask are the ones that have an assessor. You know, otherwise, we wouldn't have known about it. Luckily, Mary Jo was there and she did, so we got that. But John Valente has repeatedly said, we'll come back and do anything that you can identify as a shortcoming. And I've gone over this with Mary Jo, and we don't have that chip anymore.
So what's your opinion, Rob?
I agree with what you're saying, but if we go to court, I think we could lose and we could cost the taxpayers more money.
Also, they may not want to go to court and have their name dirtied out in the public.
They don't, for sure. And that's
Okay.
why they've been very willing to say, whatever you don't think we've done correctly, we'll do. And when we
Okay.
can't identify that anymore,
You haven't correctly billed us.
I want to hear Rob's opinion, and then I have a suggestion.
okay.
I think that without being able to have a list of 200 homes that they didn't go in and view or have any of that information, I don't think we have any choice but to pay them, as much as I don't want to. I don't think they did a good job. I think the whole thing was terrible from the beginning to the end. But like Mark is saying, they want to fix whatever was wrong, but we can't tell them what's wrong right now, because we don't know. I mean, we know they didn't go to everybody's house, but I can't prove that.
They know they didn't.
If we go to court, though, how are you gonna prove it? How is the town gonna prove that they didn't go to everybody's house?
They aren't gonna go to court.
I can't gamble on that. I can't roll the dice on that and spend the money on an attorney, spend $5,000 and then have them say, oh, well, we'll knock $5,000 off the bill. You know, I can't do that. As much as I don't want to, I don't think we have a choice. They completed their contract. Did they do a good job?
No.
No.
If we didn't get the assessor's
Brad, I saw
book,
it.
I would be 100% saying, we're not paying them. In fact, we should take them to court. But that would be very expensive, and we're not sitting in a good negotiating seat right now, other than saying, we're not really that happy.
I got the talking stick for a second. Okay, I think that, I think they did a lousy job. I agree with that. I also think that Mark's right, that if we go to court, we don't stand a prayer. So what I would suggest, if you think you can pull this off, Mark, is to get them to agree that we'll pay them, but they have to come back and fix anything that we find for a period of, say, 1 year at their expense.
Yeah,
Or something along those lines. You think they'd agree to that?
Yes. Mary Jo has a good relationship with Jacob, and he's responsive whenever she calls him.
We're gonna need a contract on that, though.
We need it in writing, of course, but that they would agree to come back and fix anything else we find for a period of, well, whatever you think is reasonable. I would suggest a year, or maybe 2 years, whatever you think you can get away with. And then, if they would agree to that, I'd be, as much as it doesn't taste good.
I think if you get into 2 years, you're looking at, market variations that
Yeah,
may or may not go back to the time that they did the appraiser.
and I will admit that this, sometimes the right thing to do doesn't taste good, and this does not taste good at all.
I don't like it. I just don't see any other way out.
And if anything is found within that year, then the taxpayer can grieve it, and it'll go in front of the Board of Civil Authority, and they can get.
I think the period would have to be till the next through the next grievance period. Because a year would take it beyond that, it really, the timeline would be to when the next appraisals, when Mary Jo does her next set of appraisals and submits the grand list and goes through a grievance period.
Now,
Okay.
when's that?
June of next year.
So you're saying,
So we did all those BCA hearings in the fall, wasn't it? In September, we did all that stuff? September, October?
so we go through then? Through fall?
Yeah,
The
so,
next year.
so if you could get with Mary Jo and figure out when that cycle occurs and when we think it would come to a conclusion, that would be the time frame. Does that make sense, Mark?
Because so when Mary Jo does her
Yes.
assessments next year, so she'll do her initial assessments and there's a grievance period. This year was like 19 June, I think, was the end of the grievance period, that they could grieve their assessment. So this, if they find something into that next year's grievance period, they deal with Mary Jo, they go, if they grieve the new findings or the new appraisal, and it's something to do with Tyler Technologies, that they can fix. That, once you go beyond 19 June to that grievance period, it's pretty much over. You're going to the next year.
So what you're saying, using myself for an example, I get my assessment on such and such a date. And I can, whether it's 30 days or whatever, I can grieve it. So they're liable through the time I can grieve it. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I understood
So Mark, you're gonna figure out what that time frame when that would conclude?
I'm gonna call Mary Jo tomorrow
Okay,
and find out what that time is. And I'll call John Valente. And, I certainly don't wanna put words in his mouth, but I feel confident that we'll have that all done. He'll send a letter saying, agreeing to do that. And we'll pay him by the end of,
27,000 or whatever it was, something like that.
by the end of July. Would that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it-
Next meeting.
Yeah, because the 27th is next meeting, so.
Yep.
okay.
And
So
then we
have
can
a-
take this off the plate. Done.
We have a course of action.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Brad Turner had his hand up, and you guys were talking, I didn't interrupt you, but I don't know if he still has a question or not.
Brad, now is a good time to go ahead if you need to, or would like to.
Yeah, it goes back a while. I just wanted to check. So you were saying along West Crystal, they were gonna fix the shoulder there that was dug up, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Was put some stone in there, and then was Jeff saying that it would be removing the culvert at the end of the East Crystal Haven at the top before it goes to the left, it's traveling north to south. He's gonna remove that culvert next year under next year's work maintenance plan. Is that what he was saying, or
yes,
is that a next year item for that culvert removal, or?
yes,
I wasn't clear what he was saying.
next year.
Next year.
Brad, if they can get to it this year, they will, but right now he's tentatively planning for next year as one of our first projects that we do before this real runoff.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank you. The only other thing I would add in there with the Tyler stuff, I did throw a couple notes in chat. So, before they even started, I looked on the web, they have a bunch of legal things going on across the country. They're a huge entity. They're basically too big to fight. Like you guys were saying, at this point, because they're saying we'll fix whatever's wrong, you're never gonna win a battle with them. The thing would be, the state recommends them, I think, right? So you should go back to the state and say, these guys did a terrible job for us. We're really disappointed in what they did, and I'm not sure they should be on your recommended contractor list. The guy that did our property, I think he may be the guy that you mentioned. When we went in and raised a number of issues, he was throwing ridiculous answers back at us. He couldn't even explain stuff. I did an analysis using AI on the smaller properties in my neighborhood and found that AI came back and said there's definitely a bias. Something's wrong with their model. I could never get an answer from them on any of the details. That's a big problem. Thanks for listening tonight.
Thank you, Brad. So we have a course of action on Tyler. So next item on the agenda is pretty light lift. That's the restaurant bar licenses.
Make a motion to approve the first-class restaurant/bar license, application number 79458 for Sodexo Operations LLC.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but where is it?
It's a college.
That's the college.
Oh, okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would make a motion to approve a third-class restaurant bar license, application number 79460 for Sodexo Operations LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Managers report. We got any short bullets, Mike, before we open it up for questions?
There is, in your packet, it doesn't have to be resolved now, I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Beck Sinclair had sent this stuff about cleaning up the weeds around the dock spaces. I did receive a visit from a couple different residents up there about the dilapidated docks and the not being able to get in there because of the weeds and stuff. So maybe that's where that came from, but I did not recommend them to come to the town to do that. But that, you got a letter from him, from Beck.
One question on that. I think pulling those aren't considered weeds, they're protected.
Lily pads can be.
Got a hand pull them, you just can't do dash.
Yeah, the diver assisted suction harvesting. But that's what they did for us, where the mooring of the sailboats are. They hand pulled the lilies and the Eurasian milfoil, but they left the indigenous, native plants. And so I think that's what he's asking here. But I just wanted to give it to you so it's out there for your consumption.
So what, do they want our permission to do it? 'Cause
No,
I
they-
think-
They want us to pay for it.
They want to pay for it. And I was like,
Oh, no.
They want us to pay for it?
yeah. Says, I'm wondering if it could be contracted to create a boat lane from his dock to the open water. Since this area is owned by the town of Castleton, I want to touch base with you before considering next steps. Please feel free to give me a call if that's easier.
Well, it's not owned by the town of Castleton, it's owned by the state, so.
You don't own the lake.
Is he just wanting to be able to use the town of Castleton property, like to offload the weeds?
It sounds like they wanted to have a contract with the town to do that and probably us pay for it.
No.
That's what I thought.
That is not fertile soil here.
So I wanted to bring that to your attention. I did give you a copy of the letter that was sent to Jim and Kathy Rotundo regarding the speed on Creek Road. What's this thing? There. Update on the rec center. I walked the ground today with Jeff again about the paving and the catch basins and what needs to get done down there. I'm still waiting on Peckham to give us an update or give us a quote to pave Mechanic Street and Elm Street where we excavate around the catch basins. We got one from Wilkes. I'm not gonna say it out loud because if Peckham hears it, then they know what the price was, to get that done this year. But we're waiting for the second one. I really don't have anything to compare it against. And it didn't sound like there was gonna be much of a deal since Peckham's already in town. Like, hey, you just turn the milling machine or the paver to the right a little bit and go down Elm Street, or to the left and go down Mechanic. It didn't sound that, but I don't know that for sure. McClure still haven't finished the bathroom, the ADA compliant bathroom. They know the timeline for Vermont Sports Medicine. They have not done the little overhang over the door. They haven't changed the motors on the heat exchangers, so before we get into winter. So there's still some work that they have to do down there to make it move-in ready for, I think, what they say, 1 September? For, yeah.
On the bathroom, is that available to just the sports center? Or is it available to anyone else that's in the building?
Good question. It's for everybody. Just gonna be ADA compliant. They're waiting on the door right now. That they sent 2 doors already that didn't fit. So Paul told me that they're waiting on the third time to charm it. So they can put that door, and that's what they're waiting on. I don't know if you saw the Front Porch Forum post about the garden club, and somebody internally said, Dr. Pete's not the only guy that does this stuff, so. But if you notice, I don't know if you follow Ed Dolbin, he works for the town, does all the weed whacking and stuff, and he posts a lot on his own Facebook page. But he did start clearing up around the sign that's by McClure's next to the Heidelberg School, the Welcome to Castleton sign. He cleaned it up, but he didn't get the back side of it, so I told Jeff to ask him to go back down and finish it. And Jeff said tomorrow they'll go out to the west end or east end of town where you come in by Birdseye, and that sign that says Welcome to Castleton, they're gonna take that pile of rubble away and we can use the stuff out of it, but they're gonna get that done, taken down tomorrow. So we're moving forward. There's a limb that fell at the beach over the little jungle gym. And we've been saying that's gotta come down, it's gonna fall, and it finally did, but they couldn't reach it with the bucket and the pole saw. But now that it fell, they got some of it off there, and we're gonna have to hire someone to come in and take the rest of it down. Those are the big things. I think I've kept you up to date on a lot of the other little things that have been going on, but the big thing was paving, it's gonna be now the 20th of July. That was a shocker, but
It's nice those, catch basins are done.
yeah, that was when he said that this morning, because I was not having a good day at that point, and he comes in, he goes, no, you get off the phone, you gotta listen to me, I got good news. So, yeah, advertisement for the town clerk, that's got put out there. Jenny's struggling to get it on Indeed, but it's gonna be in the papers, social media will come out, but to get that replacement for the town clerk. Part of your question?
Is there any chance that I'm missing the name? The young girl, the 19-year-old, is there any chance she'd want to go in if she's applied there before?
She willing to take on the interim role, but it's not something that she's gonna wanna do long-term. But she said she's willing to take it on until we, as the town clerk until, technically, the last day for Jan was the 10th of July, but she's staying on every Wednesday through the August primary elections to make sure everything's set. And she's working on the land records as well. So, but she only wants to do that one day a week.
And Erica's filling in the time?
Erica's, yeah. Erica and Joanne. But Erica's gonna be she is the interim or acting town clerk. We found out that they can work, even though Jan has resigned, they can continue working in their capacities and be an interim town clerk. Jan called the Secretary of State's office and got that in writing. So we're not doing decisions, things that need to get done, or they're not gonna be done in error. And
We still have the authority to do that.
Right. Basically, yes.
Any more questions for Mike? And we're gonna move on to purchase orders.
Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055548 to the Royal Group for the sum of $5,325.66 for the video surveillance system at the library, and $2,500 of that will be reimbursed after the grant is closed out. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll second it, even though I didn't have the same thing as you did. I don't have where it says 2,500, it says 50%.
I think that's on the purchase orders.
It's on the purchase order, but it's not on the cover sheet.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Make a motion to approve purchase order number 055737 to VLCT for the sum of $7,565 and as the annual dues for fiscal year 26-27.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We'll make a motion to approve purchase order number 055739 to Brightly Software for the sum of $11,597.34.
Four.
That'd be the Sourcewell contract, asset management contract for 26-27.
Second.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, please.
So I did speak with Brightly, folks at Brightly. They're gonna do training on all of our new personnel so that they can do that. They can function in this system, so we can start capturing like those sewer manholes that aren't there on our plans. This system will capture all of that, so over a mapping program, so we can say where the fire hydrants are, we can say where the catch basins are, we can say where the sewer manholes are. And Nick is very versed in computer savvy, so this is nothing for him to be, or the other folks never could do this. And then I talked to Jeff today, because the storm drains are on a state map. If we get an Excel document with all that stuff in it, that can be coordinates and everything, that can be uploaded into Brightly, and we'll have all that new storm drain information.
Then it'll all get populated onto the map?
Yeah, because, yeah, and it will know it's there, when it last was rehabbed, all that stuff. So, that was the purpose of this thing in the very beginning, so. I think we have the people in place now to actually use it to its fullest.
Did I actually call that question?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
I didn't think so.
Make a motion to approve purchase order number 055769 to Innovative Surface Solutions for the sum of $6,455.34 for calcium chloride for gravel road maintenance.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion to approve purchase order number 055805 to A1 Sewer and Drain Systems for the sum of $12,696 for 6 Gould pumps for bench stock for backup inventory.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve purchase order number 055943 to Sam's U Save for the sum of $13,125, and that's for 3,500 gallons of on-road diesel.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve purchase order number 055949 to Nemrick for the sum of $5,985.60, and that's for the annual support agreement.
That's our accounting software.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ready for warrants?
We're ready for
Ready.
warrants.
Make a motion to approve warrant number 0713R for the sum of $2,100. Warrant number 0710 for the sum of $127,557.89. Warrant number 0713 for the sum of $429,741.37. Warrant number 0625P for the sum of $24,317.85. Warrant number 0702P for the sum of $25,043.81. Warrant number 0709P for the sum of $27,139.55.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I can't count that high.
More than one hand. We need 6, Mark. Do we have 6?
6.
I'm folding too. Thank you. So we're going to move on to select board comments or concerns. Mary Lee?
Okay, I got a couple. We've got our gym floor figured out now. What are we gonna do, or how are we going to, approach the furnace, the roof thing, all right? Other repairs and things that have to be done here. Is this something we're gonna ask the Friends of Rec to have another cash bash and help, or do we have any plan? And the other thing, possibility is, it's nice that we appointed a couple people today that stepped up and said, I want to help. But maybe besides just advertising, we should go out and say, hi, how are you doing today? How would you like to help us with? There's probably a lot of people, if they were asked, that would make good volunteers. But they aren't going to look at a piece of paper and say, oh, they need a volunteer. What do you think?
I nominate Mary Lee Harris to go around town and ask for volunteers for all of our committees.
She can go around and volunteer people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard. And
The town crier.
I mean, I always try to tell people if we get talking about town stuff, why don't you, join, or if you're going to complain about it, why don't you, join and try to do something, but I will continue to do that.
Well, I've had a couple people that said, well, I've been thinking, and I says, well, tell us what you're thinking. Come and be heard. I mean, it doesn't do any good to spit and sputter in the background if you don't talk where it's going to do some good. Just another idea. And the other thing is a reminder, July 15th, we have that meeting in Rutland.
Wednesday, right? 1 o'clock.
1 to 3, yeah.
Which one is that?
That's the Rutland Regional Planning, where they're going to okay what we don't want.
What is it, the Land Use Review Board? I think is what.
All of us were, weren't we, either by Zoom or, I'm going in person.
I'll be there.
I'll probably zoom in.
PC members were going, some of them were going too.
And I agree, it probably won't do any good at all. But I just got done saying, if you can complain where it's gonna do some good. Or maybe do some good, or open some eyes. That's all. I'm off my soapbox.
Mr. Chairman, one of the things that I've used pretty successfully is AI, is create maybe a little blurb, a recruiting blurb. Instead of just putting out there, we're looking for people, is explain what does the select board do, what you can influence, or, what they might be interested in, and put something out that's a little more comprehensive.
Yeah, what's the planning commission all about?
Yeah.
Specific skills.
Yeah, and like what they do, and some that might strike a chord with someone versus like, oh, they're just looking for volunteers, but oh, you write policy for land use or zoning, and you start talking about that, they might be more interested in it.
Right. We had that guy come forward to help out on the fire department grant. Hopefully he'll be involved in the future. Yeah, maybe if we targeted a specific skill or one department, might find people interested. But it is hard, people don't volunteer. There aren't youth coaches, my wife's really involved at her church. She says, new people come, they stay, and if you go over and say, hey, would you be interested in serving on the trustees? They never come back.
Scares them right away.
Scares them right away.
Well, look, right now, community center, senior center,
What the hell's that?
Sounds like somebody's cell phone.
not mine, it's turned off.
Mine's turned off too.
Um,
Mine doesn't sound like that.
What time is it?
they're having financial problems that
10 o'clock.
with the money that they have, using just the interest of whatever was given to them, they're only good for about 2 years.
So what's itching the most,
We
planning
can't afford
commission?
to lose them.
They just got Joe on there, so that puts them to 4. DRB's 4 or 5.
DRB has 5.
Yeah, they're
now.
5 now, yeah. And yeah, so the itch right now would be the planning commission and then maybe the rec commission.
What are we missing, 2 or 3 on the rec?
But, well, why don't we, maybe can you have AI generate a blurb on planning commission and maybe one on rec, and then we can put it out on social media, and
Do them separate, so.
then Mary Lee can drive around town, stop at every residence and over the course of 2 days. And
The first time that I ran for this thing, I went down the Route 4 from Hydeville to there and shook hands with every household there was.
When people go to the ballot, they look at a name and they'll associate something with a name. Like, oh yeah, I talked to her.
Oh, yeah, she talks too much.
anything else, Mary Lee?
No, that's all I got.
Mark?
Mike, did we ever get the playground equipment ordered for Dewey?
Not yet, no. Not all of it, some of it has been.
Some of it,
Some is
okay.
here, but not all of it.
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Beeping is driving me bonkers.
I want, what's that?
The beeping is driving me
Oh, I
out.
can hear it now, I heard that, but that's it.
There's a alarm or something going off.
I can just barely hear the beep.
I did, contact, Casellas about Depot Terrace, but I have something to talk to the board about too.
Okay. You said I drove up Route 30 today and I noticed there's a very, very old motorhome at the old golf land.
I saw that.
I'm kinda wondering if somebody didn't just tow that in there and abandon it.
It looked pretty nice.
Look closer.
I have,
Anything else, Mark?
No.
Now I hear the beeping.
I have nothing. I think everything was pretty well covered under everything else we've talked about tonight.
Get the code on my phone.
What's that, the alarm?
It's the alarm panel. It says system normal.
well, that's like I keep getting earlier buzzing on my phone, because they just put cameras up and Billy's movement on and every go, oh, Bill's gone, whoops, he's gone around again, whoops, he's gone around again.
Cameras everywhere now.
Oh, boy.
And if it's online, the great computer in the sky can look at it.
The thing of it is, my neighbors saw a car parked over between the barn and the barn shed. I couldn't see it from the house. And that's when they decided maybe I ought to have cameras up. And what turned around in my yard? Home Depot, great big old truck, full of something. And someone said it was down at the end of the sand hill, so I don't know.
Well, sometimes Google Maps doesn't put you in the right place, or whatever you got for a GPS system in your phone doesn't put you in the right place. Sometimes if you go to my sister's house, it's 153 Mill Pond Road, and you punch that in, it'll send you to 1153 Mill Pond Road for some reason. It's been doing that for 6 years.
I get a lot of delivery companies that are looking for an address on Blissville Road, but it's Pulteney.
Yeah.
It's an Army in 11 minutes.
We better hurry up.
I just.
All right, well, I have no,
That's my wallet.
I have no select board concerns, so I'm gonna move on to action items, and that's, Mike and I are gonna look into speed limit change requirements for Creek Road. And I'm gonna look at an ash tree on 513 Cedar Mountain Road. Mark's going to call John Valente and come up with a final agreement, we hope.
Yep.
What else is there?
We need to start thinking about putting the fireworks on the November ballot.
Are you gonna coordinate with Mike to get the turns thing moving?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I know it's a sewer thing, but I'm gonna figure out the section on vacant properties.
Right.
I know that was last meeting, but we don't have action items for that one.
I'll get a hold of Joe Mark.
Yes. And Mark's gonna come and see me tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
Because sometimes I get off my exercise bike by 11, sometimes it's 10, but I never know what, But I have a routine I do every morning, I just don't do early anymore, so. And that includes an hour of exercise every morning, so.
Yeah, me too.
Well, my knee is rehabbing nicely and I want to keep the momentum going. Plus my other things have improved, so I'm going to keep improving. So I think we can ready to move on to, if we need an executive session for personnel.
We need one for contracts, one for personnel, and they're both pretty quick.
And I want one for personnel too.
So let's do personnel first.
Just a second here.
You got your fancy image?
Folder out here. I move to find that premature general
I hate it when my phone.
Premature general public knowledge regarding the personnel matter at hand would put the board at a substantial disadvantage because of the sensitive nature of the personnel situation. I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the personnel matter at hand under title 1 VSA 313-3A3 of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
At 10:07 with the select board and the town manager.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are in executive session with the board and the town manager.